Good morning. This is Charles Van Morgan. It's Charles Van Morgan Live, Unbridled News. We're broadcasting now in the morning. Welcome. Come on in. Got a great show for you today. We are expanding, continuing some new great stuff on judicial corruption, our dirty judges in the state of Tennessee, and it has infected the federal courthouse. So come on in, Charles Van Morgan, broadcasting live in the morning, the Charles Van Morgan Show live, reaching 1.1 million people in the last couple months. So evidently telling the truth telling is very popular. Got a great show for you today. Going to talk about a little dirty judges. Who talks about that? Only Charles Van Morgan. You won't hear this anywhere else. Come on in, Charles Van Morgan in the morning. We are going to expand on the subject of dirty Tennessee judges, draw the lines, let you see what's going on in the state of Tennessee about dirty judges. We're going to talk about Bill Goober a little bit more, and about his wife, who is a federal court justice, and why they get rulings in their favor every damn time. Go into Tennessee court and expect a fair ruling, and you'll get a violation of the Fifth Amendment. We're going to talk about the Fifth Amendment and why these dirty judges violate that from a sociological perspective. I have a Master of Arts degree in sociology, and we're going to talk about the way things really work, the way they really happen against you and in their favor. So come on in, Charles Van Morgan in the morning. We're going to talk about a little spiritual stuff. Have a little prayer meeting first, not the kind where we sit around and drink, a time where we just tell the damn truth about stuff. Excuse my language, I probably shouldn't say that in the same conversation as spiritual stuff, but I do. I'm human, this is real stuff. So come on in, Charles Van Morgan, and we're going to talk about Southern Drawers Law. Southern Drawers Law. There's a big case going on right now about Tennessee state troopers arresting people unjustifiably, and I kind of have a little knowledge about that. I used to be a Tennessee state trooper, one of the best according to them, similar to Mr. Marty Nick. So we're going to talk about that. You know, the state troopers out here arresting people that aren't drunk, and I have a little knowledge of that. And Mr. Southern Drawers Law, his show, talks about that, and he promotes himself up to be a psychiatrist and explains psychiatry and ESQ. Isn't that appropriate for a lawyer to have the arrogance and the ego to promote himself up to the level of a medical doctor, a medical professional, a psychiatrist? And that's what Southern Drawers Law, that's what I call him. If you listen to his broadcast, he's a damn psychiatrist now. He can tell you about everything. So we're going to talk about him and the channel. I think it's Channel 4 News about you might be driving down Tennessee roadway and you might get hooked up for a DUI you didn't commit. They might violate the Constitution, restrict your freedom of movement. You know, that's a fundamental constitutional right. There's a lot of constitutional rights, and some of them are fundamental. It means they're highly important. In order for them to be overturned, you have to have strict scrutiny. The government has to have a compelling reason, narrowly drawn, and no other way to get around it before they do that to you, before they take that right away from you. And so those are fundamental rights. One of our fundamental rights is freedom of movement. We got a right to travel across the United States of America without being impeded by the government. In Tennessee, come to Tennessee, see what the hell they do to you. Woo, you're under arrest, DUI, but I wasn't drinking. That doesn't matter. We got to get our numbers up. We can't find real drunk drivers, so we got to get you. So we're going to talk about Southern Drawers Law, and come on in. We got a great show for you. We're going to talk about dirty judges and the Fifth Amendment, and we don't have to obey judges that violate the Constitution. The judge is not above the Constitution. The judge is below the Constitution. So come on in. Let's turn this around here and get the show on the road. If we don't get knocked off the road by a dirty trooper that puts us in jail and a dirty judge, they get DUIs through a courtroom where people are sober all the time, all the damn time. So let's talk about, we're going to talk about all those issues. We have time, and I got a bunch of notes here, some stuff to show you in black and white. Come on in and join us, Charles Van Morgan Show. I have a doctor of jurisprudence. I'm not an ESQ. That means you have to obey the court system in their lies. You have to go along with the dirty program. I got as much knowledge as they do and more, because I have a Master of Arts in Criminology with an emphasis in, I have a Master of Arts in Sociology with an emphasis in criminology. I also have a business degree. So Mr. Southern Draws Law, that wants to be a psychiatrist, giving out medical advice because he's a ESQ. That's the way lawyers do. They think they know everything. They're arrogant. So, and I could say some good things about him, but his overall lack of knowledge kind of ruins anything he says. So if you want to watch that video, Southern Draws Law, then he talks about the DUI massacre that's going on all across the state of Tennessee, in that they're arresting sober people. And I'm going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about dirty judges in Tennessee. And we're going to talk about we're going to talk about prayer. We're going to talk about God for just a second. We'll open up the show talking about God, because this is a compelling phenomenon, because a lot of these things I speak about are so phenomenal and overburdening, and it just seems impossible. And I'm just telling the truth about things. How dirty the government is, just dirty as hell. I mean, our structures of justice are not working for us. They're working 100% for them. They're violating the Constitution. It is so overwhelming. It is so overwhelming that it can get you in a state of distress. And I realize that. So I don't want to worry people. But I'm going to tell you the truth. But I do want to say this one thing. The world's going to hell. But, and I hear this all the time, is that, well, just let it go. And if you have any kind of decency, even if you're not a Christian, you should try to make the world as honest and good a place as you can for yourself and your family and your descendants and everybody else. Don't just let it go because it's so overwhelming. Try to do what you can about it. That's a cop-out. And if you want to be a cop-out, you're part of the problem. But in thinking about the durousness of the problem, so overwhelming how crooked the government is. And I'm going to talk about that. And we're not going to cut corners or pull any punches. I'm going to tell you straight up, from an educated point of view. I'm not Southern Draws Law, being a psychiatrist without being in kind of any medical school and giving out psychiatry advice. I'm giving out sociological information because I'm a social scientist, because I graduated from a accredited institution, not a mill where you get a degree off the internet from the University of Tennessee. I've got my name on a degree, not on the side of a building that's bought and paid for to try to illuminate and make me credible when I'm not. I've got my name on a degree where I read the book, studied the literature, look at the test, and I know what I'm talking about. I don't have ESQ behind my name, so I don't have to lie for the judiciary, because that's what ESQ means. It means you lie for the judiciary because they can't even complain on them. But there's one point I want to get across to people. If you're listening to me, from my perspective, and I pray about injustices a heck of a lot. I pray about them every day, about injustices, and they're so overwhelming and so intimidating. And I'm going to talk about how unjust they are. And if you think the court system's just and you think it's a beautiful world and everything's just fine, leave it alone or keep voting and benefiting the people that are in power now, then you're on the wrong channel, because I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you the unbridled, doctored, because I have a doctorate degree, truth about things from an educated perspective and life lived perspective. So if you think it's a beautiful world, not to get on here and just hand out roses and talk about everything's pretty and everything's beautiful and say these judges are honorable people and they do right, then you're on the wrong damn channel, because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not on here for great popularity. I'm on here to tell the truth and to convince people what they already know, that the government is crooked and we need to do something about it, and we can do something about it. And I pray about it a lot. I pray about the injustices in society. I was raised in a private Christian school. My mother, a widow without a husband, was able to drive a bus so me and my sisters could go to a private Christian school. And so I went and learned basic human principles from God's holy word. And I learned about prayer. And I became a Christian at an early age. Not perfect, forgiven. So, and I pray about this stuff, and I just want to mention this because this stuff is overwhelming, just brutally wicked stuff. And you have to point out what the problem is before you can cure it. It's cancer. You have to get in and a doctor has to kill it, symbolically, so to speak. But if I tell you, it'll go away on its own, it's just going to get worse. And it's so intimidating. And I pray about stuff, and let me just say this, and that's what you need to do, pray about stuff. And pray about all this stuff. And because God hears prayers. And we're going to get into the dialogue, talk about the wicked. But I'm telling you, there's a cure. We can do things about it. Prayer is the only answer. But I'm telling you, pray about it. And if you pray about it, and it stays the same in the specific instance that you pray about, consider this. And some people lose their faith in God because when they pray about something, it doesn't work out the way they've designed it and organized it and think that it should work out. And just remember this, because I do all the time, is that you're not God. I'm not God. You're not God. And God knows what's best, and God has a design plan for things. God is more intelligent than artificial intelligence. I mean, it doesn't even scratch the surface of God's knowledge. So I'm not telling you not to pray. What I'm saying is if and when you pray and things don't work out the way you prayed for, don't get discouraged. Prayer still works. God's still on the throne. God can still straighten out things. Don't be arrogant and think, well, God didn't work things out the way I wanted him to. So I'm not going to pray anymore. No, keep praying about stuff. Keep praying about this stuff because God does answer prayer. And if you look, you'll see it. A lot of people's prayers are answered and they don't look, and so they don't see it. But God does answer prayer. And just because you pray, and I pray about injustices in the government all the time, every single day, and there's still injustices. So you think prayer doesn't work, but just listen to this. Maybe consider this, and I consider this about myself. Maybe you or me at that particular time don't deserve for God to answer your prayer to straighten out that particular problem. So instead of blaming God, maybe you say, I need to do better. I need to do something better. I need to be better myself. Because never blame God, because I'll tell you what, it's never God's fault. God is holy, and I'm not, and you're not either. So I'm not saying not to pray. I'm just saying when you pray and it doesn't seem like God's answered your prayer, it could be that one thing. Maybe you need to do better. Maybe there's something you're doing that God won't answer that prayer because you're not worthy of that. Or maybe I'm not. And that's not always the case, but that's just one answer. But my thing is this. No matter what, we'll get on with the program. I'm just telling you who I am. We'll get on with the program. But no matter what, keep praying, trying to do better yourself, and asking God to correct the injustices. And God will hear, and God in his supreme ultimate knowledge will answer prayer and will make things better. I believe that. So in spite of all this, and no matter how hard you've prayed in the past, no matter what you think, trust not in yourself, trust in God. And keep praying about things. And God will answer, I assure you, not by the confidence I have in myself, by the confidence that I have in God Almighty. And I'm not saying don't trust in science, don't trust in reality, but in all your ways acknowledge God. Don't lean to your own knowledge and understanding because you could be wrong. You could be dead wrong. Trust in God. He knows, but tell him what the problem is and he'll listen and answer. So and all these humongous problems, and I'm going to get into them, and they're pretty bad. They're disgusting, and it's wickedness in high places and power in our government in the state of Tennessee. And I'm going to explain exactly what it is with my life at risk, and I depend on God to protect me. When they put me in jail, I prayed, got out, and no real harm. I hurt for days where they beat me up, but you learn your lessons. Next time it might be a little different story. But my thing is pray about stuff, even if you think they're not answered. So we'll get on with the program. So many people got in here. We're going to talk about judicial corruption, draw the lines of the lies, and thank y'all for joining me. If you like the show, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you can, even Southern Drawers Law, ask for contributions. He's a big ESQ, got money to he practices law. So if you I guess he's practicing psychiatry, and he thinks that, let me get across this road, he thinks that he ought to be paid for psychiatry, although Southern Drawers Law has not got any psychological education. But that's how arrogant lawyers are. So many people got in here, and we'll continue the dialogue about Southern Drawers Law. And if you know him, tell him I'm on here talking about him. Tell him don't practice psychiatry without a license. So, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about some specific cases of judicial corruption, how they infect the federal court system, and we're going to talk about age discrimination. How the Tennessee courts do that. You know, in their old age, they back themselves, live off the poor and the younger people, and deny people like me that are smart enough to live a few years that know a ball and a strike, and deny me my law license because I'd point out they're crooked, and we can't point it out in their crooked courtroom, so we'll point it out here on the street where we got the most protection, First Amendment rights, on a public sidewalk in America. Supposed to have freedom of speech. Do we? I went to jail for freedom of speech, not violent speech. I know not all speech is protected, but political speech criticizing the government is more protected than any speech, political speech. And it's the less protected in our form of government. They've told me, and I'll explain to you, that I don't have a First Amendment right. So you got a First Amendment right as long as you brag on them. When you start talking about judicial corruption and the corruption of politicians and how they falsely got it in office, and you talk about rigged elections, those people really didn't win an election, then, you can't say that because you got some facts and you explain it and people will believe you and we might not get elected again. So you can't say that. And that's the very point for the First Amendment, and they step all over it. It's very disgusting, and we don't have to obey that. We don't have to obey their judicial rulings that we can't speak out on a public sidewalk peacefully against them. We can do that. They're violating the law, not us. They're violating the Constitution. They're wicked, very wicked people in the state of Tennessee. Wicked judiciary and attorneys in here, you know that. And if you're going to try to stop me, come out here on a public sidewalk and see what happens next time you try to stop me. So there's an icon there, and I'm just saying, let me speak. And I'm not asking for permission. Let me put it this way. I'm going to speak. I double dog dare you to stop me this time. You learn lessons. I got arrested before. That ain't going to happen no more. You got that? Now, if I do something violent or dangerous or violate people's rights or violate a criminal law, come out here on the sidewalk, show me a warrant, and take me to jail. You come out here on the sidewalk because I'm saying McMillan is a dirty judge in the state of Tennessee that I got a right to say on the public sidewalk, then you're going to have a little problem with me. So you learn your lessons. And I'm not just saying, I am telling you. You got that? Now look at my little icon there. If that's the way you want to do it, you want to walk on the Constitution, then we'll have our little discussion out here on the road about I got that right and I'm not going to give it to you anymore. So that's just a message to all the world. FBI, TBI, THPP, and all law enforcement, I got a right to stand on a public sidewalk. You know that. And speak out against the government. You leave me alone. You got that? Don't violate the Constitution or I'm going to give you a bad problem. And whichever way it goes, I'd strongly advise you to let me speak. If I break the law, fine, and retire and enjoy your retirement. Because if you want to mess with me, then we'll cause you a problem, a bad one. So leave me the hell alone. If you think I'm a toy, go ahead. Now, I think that's enough warning. And if YouTube bans me for standing on the Constitution, then that's fine. Catch me on Rumble or Facebook or Twitter or Telegram. And we'll get the message out. And I'm not advocating any kind of violence. I'm against violence. I'm promoting self-defense. Self-defense. Defense of myself. I'm not going to attack anybody. I'm not going to the sheriff's department, charge in there and grab a deputy and throw him down the floor and kick him and say, shut the hell up. I'm not going to do that. But when they come out here and do that to me, they did it one time. They did it one time. I hurt for days. Just for running down people in government power, saying the truth about them. They have means. They can sue me in courts, in civil courts. I can show the truth. Everything I say is backed up by facts and evidence. They don't like it because it's backed up by facts and evidence. It's against them. If I walk around here and say, praise the government, the sheriff's such a wonderful Christian, the governor's such a great man, and everything's wonderful in the government power, then they'd leave me alone. So why can't I get out here and speak the truth about them that is bad for them? The truth is, under the Constitution, I can. Under the Fifth Amendment. So we're going to talk about, under the First Amendment, we're going to talk about the Fifth Amendment, your due process of law. So hang with me. Let's see how many people we got in here. Thank y'all for joining me. You want to hear this stuff anywhere else? Charles Van Morgan show, live, up close and in personal. So I pray and trust God. Keep praying and trusting God no matter what you see. God answers prayer. We just don't understand. Don't put yourself above God. God created us to worship Him, not the other way around. If He doesn't answer the prayer the way you wanted to, it's not God doing anything wrong, and maybe not you doing anything wrong. But keep praying, keep trusting. God will answer. That's what I believe. And we'll talk about some special prayers for some people who have a problem in the judicial system. God even knew about judicial issues and how some people get benefited and some people don't. And we'll talk about those people. So hang with me. Thank you all for joining me. Charles Van Morgan in the morning. And enjoy the show. So let's see how many people we got in here. We'll continue the dialogue about dirty judges. Hang with me. Thank you all. So yeah, we ain't got that many. So like, share, comment. And Charles hasn't said anything today that has made sense. He pops out. Let's see, what is this guy? Pops out. Charles hasn't said anything today that has made sense. He's popped out a few catchy words that Christians like, but nothing of any substance. Okay. I have a doctor of jurisprudence. Let me slow that down so you can Barney style, Mr. Old Glory. And I passed the Tennessee bar exam twice. So evidently, I'm pretty damn smart. I know about all the amendments. I know what they mean. And I know a lot of stuff, past tests to prove it. Wasn't reading a book when I took the test. Off the top of my head, I wrote the stuff out on the bar exam. Passed it twice. Is that slow enough for you? So, you're going to believe a faceless idiot on here. But anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining my show. All of y'all. Everyone's welcome. Even idiots. Come on in. And I'm not going to explain it to you because let me keep you on here. Oh, you make me so mad. You make me so mad. It's horrible. Horrible. Please get off my show. Please. Don't say bad stuff to me. It bothers me. Get off my show, yeah. Okay. So yeah. So like, share, comment. My question to all of you in chat is this. Did I paint your teeth yellow? Yeah. I'm 61 years old, so that's one of the worst things you can do is talk about somebody's appearance. I mean, if they got good hygiene, I brushed my teeth today. If they take care of themselves, they don't have body odor and mistreated, and to talk about their appearance is way out of bounds for any reasonable social criticism. I mean, that is so ridiculous. That is so corrupt and speaks. Selective is a legal term. It means the thing speaks for itself. So anybody, like if you see a woman that you consider overweight, to call her fat, that's so out of bounds. That's so out of bounds. Discussing people's personal appearance. So if you want to look at my personal appearance, I think I'm the best looking man on the planet, quite frankly, is my opinion. But, listen to what they say, their knowledge that they can impart if they're on a YouTube channel. So Revelation 3:9, I'll have to look that up. Where are you from? I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. He's scared. Well, I keep my head down because the government is trying to punish me, and that is true. I'm not an idiot. I'm listening. Don't worry about them. Okay, thank you very much. I got you. I appreciate it. I got some supporters on here. Talk about the true spiritual war. Yeah, that's true. There's a spiritual war going on, and the way to beat that spiritual war is through the Lord Jesus Christ. So yeah. Let's see. Stop spamming. Your tax pay for their salary. That's right, it does. So, Charles Van Morgan in the morning. Let's talk about judicial corruption. Dirty judges in the state of Tennessee. We're going to talk about. Let's talk about the Board of Law Examiners and how they control the judicial system, because the Board of Law Examiners keeps people in or out of the judicial system from practicing law. So in Tennessee, you have to go, in most states, you have to go to law school unless you're a foreigner. If you're a foreigner, you don't have to go to law school because judges adjudicate that you can be a lawyer without attending law school. So really, if depending on what they adjudicate, you don't have to be an educated person to go to be a lawyer in the state of Tennessee, because they're letting illegal aliens. Tennessee Supreme Court's letting illegal aliens in our courtrooms to represent their countries, foreign countries, above Americans with birth certificates. So the Board of Law Examiners controls who gets in the judicial system to represent Tennesseans. So when you think that you have an attorney in the state of Tennessee, the Board of Law Examiners, who are judges, sitting to adjudicate who gets to be a lawyer to represent you and who doesn't. So the government decides who is going to represent you. You don't get to decide that, because you can't hire an unlicensed attorney like me to represent you in a court of law, because they won't let you hire me, because they won't license me. So I can't represent people. I can't represent you in a courtroom. So they decide, the Board of Law Examiners decides who represents you and who doesn't represent you. Now they claim, falsely, they lie. Lisa Perlin over the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners, I'll point her name out. She's a liar. She lied on me to keep me from getting my law license. So in Tennessee, in the judiciary, in their courtrooms, the lawyer you get, the sociology books call them a double agent. I say they're not even a double agent. They're on the side of the court system. They're on the side of the judges. They're protecting the judges. If the judge violates your constitutional rights, then they don't step in and try to protect your constitutional rights. They let the judge get by with violating your constitutional rights. They don't intervene because they're government-appointed, judge-appointed lawyers that protect them. It's the fox guarding the hen house. So Lisa Perlin, Tennessee Board of Law Examiners, Jeff Long, and all the members of the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners are on the side of the government. They represent the government. And if you go into a courtroom and they're charging you with a crime, or the government's trying to take away your property, you would hopefully want a lawyer that represents your interest, not the interest of people that are trying to take your damn property away from you in the first place. So you see how that works out. Works out well for them because the person that's supposed to be on your side, that they say, hey, trust him, is appointed by them, not you. You hired lawyers that are all across the state. Every lawyer in the state of Tennessee is approved by them on their side. That's a fact. That's the truth. You don't get to be a lawyer unless you agree to uphold their injustice, to be on their team. So they put them out there. Even sociology books call them double agents. They're not even double agents. They're spies on the side of the government. That are out here that are licensed by them for them. So that's what you get in Tennessee. So when you hire a lawyer, they've already stacked the system. They got one that will lie for the judge. Go talk to a lawyer and see if he didn't get approved by the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners. The Tennessee Board of Liars, which is what they are. The Tennessee Board of Law Examiners is a bunch of liars. They lie about stuff. I'll tell you exactly what they lied about. It's in black and white. I got a YouTube video, and I'm going to put out another one where the hearing verbatim, the transcript from the hearing where they denied me my law license. Why did they deny me my law license? They denied them twice, 2 times, because I stand on the Constitution and for people's rights. That's why, because I won't agree to overlook judicial misconduct. I'll send them and say, Your Honor, that's a violation of the Constitution. And I'm not talking about violent, I'm talking about disagreeing with them. Or, Your Honor, you just added something in this case that's false and misled the jury. You know, calling for a sidebar. They don't want somebody like that. They want somebody that will get a case through the system in their favor. So let's turn this around. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and render to Almighty that which is his. Okay, that's right. But what if it's not theirs and they take it anyway? What if Caesar is taking away your property? And that's just a cop-out for saying, I mean, what if Hitler, beautiful view of the countryside here. So like, share, comment. What if Hitler decided, that's Caesar, Hitler was Caesar in Nazi Germany. I mean, so you're going to go along with that? Caesar says pay your taxes in Germany and schedule the train trips to annihilate the Jews. I mean, you're going to go, how far are you going to drag that? That's not what rendered to Caesar. That means to pay your taxes. And you should pay your taxes. And you should vote to eliminate some of these people that raise your taxes to support their kids. So the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners on the front end protects these judges in Tennessee and in the federal court system by denying law license to honest lawyers, saying that they're not honest. And they do a hideous thing, very hideous. And you know, I'm talking about Lisa Perlin, Jeff Long. He sits right over here at the courthouse in Tennessee. What a sick, perverted man that gets rich off your money. Made money off me. I had to pay him to adjudicate against me. I mean, they got the system rigged so much in their favor. And he tried to be nice about it because he knows he's a wicked man. So Jeff Long, you know, I know you got a tight relationship with a judge that you backed up. Sue me. I have nothing because you took everything away. But you can get it on the record, which is already stuff on the record, that your judge is adjudicated dirty against me for standing on the sidewalk, speaking out against you. You can stand on the sidewalk. You go in there in the courts and get a judge to write a lie about me. You got a lot of rights. You try to shut me up, and I'm just telling you. I already gave you your damn warning. And you know, the concept of liberty or death don't necessarily mean ours. So I'm just speaking for the populace. So you go right on with it. But so like, share, comment. So like, share, comment, and all these haters in here, thank you. And all the people that are sharing the love, thank you. So when you go get a lawyer, and we're talking about specifically Tennessee and your state too, they have to be approved by the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners. The Tennessee Board of Law Examiners lies about stuff. They claim that I'm not credible when I've never been convicted of any crime, never lied in any courtroom, not one time. They even a prosecutor alleged that I'm not candid, and the Commissioner Bill Gibbons said that I couldn't do my job. So this is where they go here, and then when it's convenient for them, they're over here saying the exact opposite. They say this is what the judges approve of. Judiciary approves this because he's approving of things that they tell you is right, not the real truth. So they said that I wasn't candid to testify in a courtroom. Bill Gibbons said that. And then Randy Nichols, good for nothing Nichols, dismissed over 100 DUI cases, made the fatality rate skyrocket. And then a few months later, after he dismissed cases, and I'll show you a subpoena where they issued me a subpoena, I met with the prosecutor in Claiborne County to discuss criminal cases and that I had up there, and go to court, told me to go to court and testify in Claiborne County. So which one is it? Which one is it, Bill Goober? Which one is it? Am I not candid to qualify? Why did you let your department that you're over issue me a subpoena to work for free? And that's how insidious and disgusting they are. While he's making buku bucks of money, Bill Goober, and getting a free ride off your tax money, he lived in Shelby County, and he got a taxi ride. State troopers drove him instead of enforcing the road, highway safety. He got a taxi ride from his close to his house all the way to Nashville, because he didn't want to move to Nashville, although he got the big pay of a commissioner. And he said that I wasn't candid to testify. And we're talking about judicial corruption that's even affected the federal court system. So when you get a lawyer, just remember this. Keep this in mind. You don't have to flat out tell them. Just keep this in mind when they're telling you stuff. Question them. Question your attorney. Make sure they're going in your best interest. Or you could sometimes in cases defend yourself, because attorneys represent the dirty judges. They don't represent you. You go into court and have an attorney and see what you think about the attorneys in criminal court. They don't represent you. They're representing the judge. They're representing the system. They're not on your side 100%. So I'll show you the subpoena. After I was terminated, after they said I couldn't testify, after they made the roads more dangerous, and then they asked me to testify. So that's how crooked these people are. And they say I'm not candid to be an attorney. So I can't represent Tennesseans in a Tennessee court in front of the judges. Why is that? Because they don't want somebody that would represent you all. They don't want somebody that would represent criminal defendants or even civil defendants against the government, like in their rogue administrative hearings. They don't want somebody to do that. They want somebody that will represent the people in power in the government. That's what they want to do. So they're crooked, dirty judges. The Board of Law Examiners, crooked, dirty Board of Law Examiners. They said that I'm not honest. Although, facts. We're not talking about emotions. We're talking about facts. Although I have no criminal convictions in any court, in any country, in any state, anywhere in the world, I have no criminal convictions. So, let alone a infamous crime. An infamous crime is a crime where you are dishonest, where the crime you commit is a crime of dishonesty. You can commit a crime like drunk driving, or a crime where you're jaywalking, where you're not dishonest, but they have said that I am not honest, and I've never been convicted of any crime. And they themselves on the board of judicial, board of law examiners, committed crimes of just infamous crimes, not just crimes that where it was just a crime of malfeasance. That's something that you should have done that you didn't. I'm talking about a crime where you did something deceitful. The board of law examiners, people that have appointed lawyers sitting in courtrooms all over the state of Tennessee, are guilty, and this is not defamation, it's truth, are guilty of committing a crime of dishonesty. Go ahead. I'm not walking in front of the car. They're guilty of committing a crime. Do what now? Where am I what?
Where are you streaming to?
It's YouTube Live. Yeah.
YouTube Live?
Thank you. Yeah, Charles Van Morgan, if you want to look me up.
Right.
I'm running down people in government power. It's kind of dangerous, isn't it? So yeah, got a little attention there. So like, share, comment. So that is they committed an infamous crime, a crime of misconduct, of deceit. And while they're adjudicating that I'm dishonest, haven't committed any crime of dishonesty, testified under oath as to the truth about everything, cannot prove I ever lied about anything. I can prove that they have. They were even convicted. They won't let me be a lawyer to represent Tennesseans because I'm honest. And when the judges violate your constitutional rights, I would have pointed it out. I would have said something about it. So the bar to protect your constitutional rights, your Fifth Amendment, which is guaranteed to a fair hearing, which is the promise of in our Constitution of due process, which stands for notice and a hearing, is violated. Hello, hitting on that nasty vape. So people take care of your health. Nobody else cares about it. I'm just saying. So they barred people from getting into the court system that will protect your federal constitutional rights, notice and a hearing. They have people that are dishonest, have been convicted of crimes of dishonesty, that decide whether or not a lawyer gets a license. And they decided in my case that I'm not candid. That's according to federal law. And they get to decide who practices law in federal courts. Lisa Perlin, crooked Lisa Perlin, decides if the lawyer can practice law in federal court. So they've infected our federal courts. And a federal judge decided that I don't have a right, they don't have jurisdiction over their own courts, and allowed Lisa Perlin to decide who represents you in Supreme Courts, in federal courts that are supposed to be supreme. So they have infected the federal courts, because federal courts, although they have limited number of cases that can get there, they have more power than state courts. Federal courts protect your constitutional rights. They protect the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and all the things in it. Second Amendment, your right to bear arms, to protect yourself from the government. I might add, that's what that amendment is for. And they protect your Fourth Amendment, right to where they can't come in your house and without a warrant, without somebody impartially giving out the warrants, which here in Knox County, they issued a warrant. They issued a warrant based on stuff they read off the internet. And a Knox County Judicial Commissioner, judge, signed the warrant. That's not very impartial, is it? Did he ask them, do you have any other testimony besides what anybody can read or put on the internet? I wonder if he did that. So, and then they went and killed somebody at their house, the warrants department, that has a liar on the warrants department that lies on police reports, and the warrants department said what happened and there's no video. So the crooked courts could kill you dead very easily and get by with it, because they have the prosecutor in Knox County that said that's okay. So Lisa Perlin and the line Board of Law Examiners and the line Lisa Perlin decided that I'm not candid, and they decided that by lying on me. Now, candor means that you tell the truth, but you don't tell the whole truth. Now, that's a legal thing, and according to federal law, in order to legally show someone's not candid, anybody can say someone's not candid, but legally, according to case law and federal law, and they control the federal courts, you have to show that they left something out. That's all candor means. You tell the truth, but you just leave stuff out. Which, you know, you can tell a story and leave some minor detail out that makes no difference. That's easy. That doesn't mean you're not candid under the law. It might mean you're candid under Lisa Perlin's definition, which is a rigged up definition to sabotage somebody's future unjustifiably to protect your rogue court system. Then that's not candid. But even under federal law, they didn't prove lack of candor. Lack of candor means that you left something out according to federal law, and that you had the intent to deceive, and you left something material out, something of importance. That's what they said. I liked that I was honest, told the truth, but I left stuff out that was important with the intent to deceive. I never did that. That's a lie. That's not true. So she didn't prove that. She didn't prove that in law. But when they're the supreme arbitrators, they decide, and they're not fair, and they're criminals. They were committing crimes. They got convicted, pled guilty. They're lawyers. They know all their rights. Pled guilty because they knew they had their hand caught in a cookie jar. The woman over the whole Tennessee Board of Law Examiners was committing a crime of deceit when I've never been convicted of any crime, let alone a crime of deceit, telling me that I'm dishonest because I'm not candid. Right. I'm very candid, very honest. They're a bunch of liars that harm all of Tennesseans. And even if you go to federal court in Tennessee, you're going to get a lawyer. You're going to get a lawyer that liars, dangerous, crooked, violent people in the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners. And yeah, I said what I said. I said violent, crooked, dangerous Board of Law Examiners. And those are not just blatant statements. They're the truth. And I'll tell you how they're the truth. They are violent people. They're violent. They will attack you. So it's not a blanket statement. Mr. Jeffrey Ward tried to chase me down on the sidewalk. That's violent. He didn't want to have a discussion with me. He wanted to hurt me. A Board of Law Examiners that approves lawyers. They're violent, dangerous people. How you doing, Mr. Jeffrey Ward? I didn't run from you. I'm just not going to stop in the street to have a street battle. I'm a civilized, decent person. You're not. So here we go. Everybody welcome. Come on in. Come on in. So like, share, comment, and subscribe. And everybody's welcome. Come on in. So let me get situated here. We got low views right now, but they will build up. I think YouTube is sanctioning my videos. So I think YouTube is sanctioning my videos, which is fine. We'll get the message out one way or another. So, the Crooked Tennessee Board of Law Examiners turned me down twice, lying on me. Both times they lied on me. And I'm going to put out the transcript either today or the next day of my hearing, my first hearing before the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners, the legal transcript, where I swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. And they weren't even under oath. See, they don't put themselves under oath. They're judges, so they lie, sit there and lie. And this is my first attempt at none other than the heinous crime. I had the audacity to be a citizen in the United States, honest. I had the audacity to work for years and years, sleep in my van, to go to law school, pass tests day after day. I had the audacity to pass the bar exam and ask for my legal right under their laws, under their procedures, to practice law. I had the audacity to try to be a lawyer. How dare you try to be a lawyer and represent Tennesseans and represent and argue for their First Amendment and their constitutional rights? How dare you do that as an honest person? How dare you do that? That's not what we want. That's not what Lisa Perlin wants. She wants to protect the system, the judiciary, protect the liars. So even getting in the gate, you ain't got a chance in Tennessee. And there are some honest lawyers. There are a few, but they are approved by the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners. And maybe some of them stuck by, but they know they can't stand up for your constitutional rights. They have a rule, Board of Professional Conduct, that they can't disparage judges. If a judge rules in a case because he got paid because of some criminal conduct or some unethical conduct, they can't stand outside the court and say, well, that was a rogue ruling by the judge. He made the decision based on crimes. He's a rogue judge. He's criminal. He's wrong in what he did. They can't say that. Even if the judge did, and they do a lot. The lawyer that represented me in a case where they drugged me into court for speaking out against them saw a judge commit a crime, commit judicial conduct, step on somebody's constitutional rights. I couldn't believe it, but he couldn't complain, because if he did, they would take his law license away from him. So I'm telling you, from the get-go, getting in the door, the reason why I don't have a law license, getting in the door, you won't get a fair hearing from the Tennessee Judiciary. You won't get a fair hearing from a Tennessee judge because you don't get honest lawyers, for the most part, that even get in the system. They're crooked as hell. They lie. They said I was a liar, that I was dishonest, that I wasn't candid, while they were committing crimes, serious felony crimes of dishonesty, of which they pled guilty to. So that's the people that have put your lawyers in the state of Tennessee. And that lawyer that was committing a crime that violated my right, my privilege to practice law in Tennessee, that said I was dishonest, lying on me, already has her law license back and her record cleared. While I'm honest as it can be, I've spent my life protecting people on Tennessee roadways, and I will never, ever get my law license because of the crooked Tennessee Judiciary, the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners, because they don't want somebody that's honest. They want somebody that will back up their crooked system, that will ignore judicial corruption. And that's what we're talking about today, judicial corruption. You don't even get to be a judge unless you have a law license. And the system is set up to back up corruption, to back up the people in power, to back up their lies. So that's just the first of the issue. And that's why I can't practice law in Tennessee. And I challenge them to prove I'm lying about anything. They can't do it. They are. So they're crooked as hell. So let's read some comments. We're almost to the bridge. I got some notes and some interesting stuff we're going to talk about. And we'll talk about Bill Gibbons and his wife, that is a Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. So imagine challenging a prosecution by Bill Gibbons in a federal court when his wife is sitting in adjudication of him. Kind of nice how they got that rigged up where they own the courts. They own the courts. They're not free and fair courts. The rich people, like Bill Gibbons, they own them. They're their courts, like going to somebody's mother and complaining about them to their mother. They're not going to go on your side. It doesn't matter what their kid did. They're going to go on their side. The nepotism in our courts and in our state government is so alarming. You look at people at the top of the judiciary, and you look at people in high positions in government service. They're people that are related. They own the court system. They own the judiciary. Rulings all the time go in their favor. And where that hurts you is, you think about it. If you have a case against the Tennessee Highway Patrol and you sue them through the state court system, you have state judges who are related to the Colonel, Matt Perry. You think they're going to decide against their buddy in the THP, Matt Perry? Hell no, they won't. Hell no, they won't. They'll decide for Matt Perry, even if you're intoxicated. So they're out, even if you're not intoxicated, they arrest you for drunk driving. So they're out here arresting hundreds of people falsely for drunk driving. They know they can get by with it. A Tennessee judge is not going to substantially rule against Matt Perry's Highway Patrol because he was related to a former Supreme Court justice. He's got ties in the judiciary. It's about a family organization. It's their government. It's their family government. So crooked as hell. Crooked as hell. Let's get past the bridge and I'll read some comments and go along with the dialogue. The crooked, dirty Tennessee judiciary. Thank y'all for joining me today. Like, share, comment, spread the message. Contribute if you can. And we're going to talk about Southern Draws Law. We're going to talk about the dirty Tennessee judiciary and a few other things in my repertoire. I got a whole notebook of stuff here. And thank y'all for coming. We've researched and worked hard on this message today and putting out live. We got more outreach than your local news channels. Channel 6 is the leading newscaster in this area. They broadcast about 50,000 people on one single broadcast, and we beat that. So I don't know if we will today. It looks like, but we've got a lot of outreach talking about the dirty judiciary in the state of Tennessee, dirty Tennessee government. Let's see what we got on here. So yeah, it's picking up. So thank you all for joining me. Like, share, comment. We'll get to the bridge right here. My bench where I represent the law for Tennesseans is right here on the Henley Street Bridge. A beautiful view. And I'm representing you. I'm representing Tennesseans against the Tennessee judiciary. They don't represent you. They represent and adjudicate for people in power. That's who they represent. That's who they want to serve. And that's who they serve. They don't serve the public. And we're going to talk about due process. We're going to talk about the Fifth Amendment. And we don't have to obey judges that violate the Constitution. We don't have to obey that. The Constitution is above judges, above rogue, crooked judges. So we don't have to obey crooked Tennessee judiciary that violate our federal constitutional rights. It trumps state judges. Now they're supposed to arbitrate it, but when they blatantly flat out lie and commit constitutional violations in a courtroom and don't give you due process, which is under the Fifth Amendment, given mandated to the states by the Fourth Amendment, by the 14th Amendment. So the federal government has to obey your due process rights by the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution, which among other things guarantees your right to life, liberty, and property, and the government can't take it without due process of law. Due process of law means that you have to have notice and you have to have a hearing before the government can take your life, liberty, or property, before they can put you in jail, before they can take your property in civil suits, before they can take your liberty, your movement. They have to have a fair tribunal. It has to be due process. Due process means that you have to have notice. You have to be notified of the hearing, and notice is important. Even if you've done something wrong and you don't get fair notice, that can void the whole procedure. And you have to have a hearing before an impartial, fair tribunal. And that's the issue. Impartial, fair tribunal. Yeah, it's really not funny. They're over here laughing at you because their tribunals in their courtroom are dirty as hell. You won't get a fair court hearing if you go against the government in a Tennessee courtroom. You'll get one that they decide whatever the hell the governor wants them to do. And that's one way we can beat this, is by voting for a governor that believes in the Constitution, even when it goes against what he wants. Even when somebody's speaking against him, the Constitution says they can, and he won't do that. He's the one that had me arrested by proxy. So the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution trumps judges. You got to let them take your Fifth Amendment away. You can fight them. The way we need to fight them is at the polls. But I'm just saying, the Fifth Amendment guarantees us in a courtroom, we're talking about dirty judges, the right to due process of law. Now that's important because that's a guarantee, a constitutional guarantee. No judge is above that. If they don't like it, they still got to go by the Constitution. They stand up and swear to uphold the Constitution, and then they walk all over it. Soldiers go fight other countries to protect the Constitution and citizens' right to a free country. What does freedom mean? It's the Constitution. It means we have rights that protect us from the government. That's big. That's different than any other government in any other country in the whole world. That's what sets the United States apart from other countries, is that one citizen, me, just one person, has a protection against the whole federal government. Even a homeless person has protections against the whole state, federal, city government. That means even if you're homeless, have no money, you have constitutional rights. You have rights. You don't lose your rights because you're homeless. And if you're a billionaire, you still have constitutional rights. You know, you don't have more, you don't have less, but that's the problem. They take constitutional rights from the populace and give it to them. And here's why that's big. Here's why that's important. From somebody that has a doctor of jurisprudence, I'm telling you, hang on to this. It's important. It's very important. I know it, and you should know it. The government has resources, almost unlimited. You know what's on the planet Earth? They can tax and tax and tax and get money. They got bullets you pay for. They got police cars. There's a fan. They got police cars. So yeah, I appreciate the fans. They've got police cars. Let's look at the road here. They've got police cars. They've got resources. They got court buildings. We pay for the court buildings. They got lights. They turn on the lights in their courthouses, and we pay for those lights. They don't pay for any of that stuff. We do. They got all these resources. They got military equipment. The government has resources upon resources that they can do whatever they want to do. They've got a whole military force behind people in government power that has all kinds of equipment, knowledge, training to enforce their will on you. They can do whatever they want to do to you. And you, one homeless person, and this is important, get this. One homeless person has protection against all those resources. All their gas, guns, bullets, tanks, everything that the government has, a homeless person has a protection that can stop all those resources from hauling them off to jail, from beating them up, from doing whatever they want. You, one person, have enough to stop the sheriff from coming to your house, kicking your door down and shooting you. Yeah, and here's your protection. Here's your protection. All those resources, it's very powerful protection. More powerful than what they got. It's called the Constitution. It's our agreement with them that you got all this power, but we got some rights. And those rights are the Constitution. We can say, stop at my door. You can't come in my house. I got a right to say, get the hell off my property. The Constitution. Where's your due process of law? Where's your warrant before an impartial tribunal? Where's your search warrant? You didn't have a reason. You don't have a justifiable reason. So the Constitution protects you from all their power. That one little piece of paper, or papers, that's our right, our constitutional rights. That protects us from the power, the mighty power of the government. Hold up that Constitution. That's powerful. That's your right. Stop, Sheriff. You got no right. That's my right to stand out here on the sidewalk. People in government power are crooked. I can say that. You go in Russia and say that and they'll throw you in jail. In America, we're supposed to have, we need to stand on the Constitution. We're supposed to have the Constitution. Hey, I can stand out on the sidewalk under freedom of speech. The government can write no law that says I can't get out here on the sidewalk and speak against them. It's my freedom of speech. It presents the other side of the story. They got a lot of power to present their story. They do every day in the robe court rulings. But I have a right as an American citizen, under the Constitution, if a sheriff deputy, and I use it, you've heard me use it when they harass me. I don't use a gun. I use the Constitution and say, wait a minute, the First Amendment says I can be here and I can do this and I can say this, and if you don't like it, you gotta lump it. Your bullets don't trump the Constitution. Don't step on the Constitution. You're stepping on soldiers' blood that earned us that contract against the powerful state government. So I'm telling you, stand on the Constitution. If you got a constitutional right, don't let them bully you. That Constitution's more powerful. It's the stop to their taking over our lives and telling us what to do and imprison us. You know, the Pilgrims left England because of the power of the king. So when they wrote the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, they wrote it in such a manner as to protect ourselves from the power of the government, to give each individual rights against the government. Doesn't matter who you are, you got the Constitution. Read that thing, hold it up, exercise them where you can. So let's see, yeah, we got a bunch of people on here. So the Constitution is a powerful document that protects us from the rogue government in the state of Tennessee and in the federal government. So look at the view here. We're going to talk about judicial corruption. Thank y'all for joining me. I'm Charles Van Morgan in the morning. So let's go ahead and go into Southern Drawers Law and his commentary on the news about the Tennessee Highway Patrol arresting a bunch of drunk drivers and them wrongly, and them being forced and pushed into DUI arrest and violating people's rights. And they got two people, and my heart goes out to them, that were former troopers. And the Southern Drawers Law discusses those and runs those former troopers down. And he's a ESQ, and he gives some psychiatry advice, although he's no longer, and talks about it's up to the legislature to correct that problem. The legislature ain't going to correct nothing. The legislature's going to rule in favor of the governor that wants them to get every person off the road that's in their way. So here's 2000 and look at this trip. This is 2011, the same year I was fired. DUI Officer of the Year, 2011. So go get them. Go get them. Have a DUI off the road you can. You'll get whipped if you don't, according to that recording. It doesn't have anything to do with making a lot of drunk driving arrests. That's bull malarkey. I made more than anybody in the state, and this is just 2011. I made more than 2010, 2009, 2008, 2007. It doesn't have anything to do with doing your job. It's who's your daddy. Because people that are up in the Highway Patrol didn't make any DUI. So let's look at Matt Perry's job performance. How many DUI arrests he made? I bet he didn't make very many, because he was quickly promoted to sergeant, because he knows somebody that's in a Supreme Court justice as his family member. So that's crooked as hell. That's crooked as hell. So that's the first thing. Southern Drawers Law doesn't talk about that. Thinks the legislature can straighten it out. The legislature has Lionel Russell in it. He's the one that got me fired. He got me fired knowing I made more drunk driving arrests than anybody in the state. So the legislature is the one that created the problem, Southern Drawers Law. It didn't make the problem. The legislature, Lionel Russell, lied on me to get me fired. Insidious, dirty liar. He went. This is Larry Russell. This is the legislature supposed to correct the problems. That's what Southern Drawers Law said. The legislature needs to make laws to correct the problem. The legislature they got liars on the legislature, criminals on the legislature. So let's rely on the criminal legislature to correct the problem. Let me tell you this Southern Drawers Law. If anybody knows him, tell him that he's not a psychiatrist. That he babbles a lot of stupid stuff. He says a lot of stuff true, but let me educate him just a little bit from somebody that's just a little bit older than him. And he used to be a prosecutor. I wonder, was he one of those prosecutors that prosecuted guilty people so much it was easy? And did he get a cap for prosecuting somebody that was innocent? That was his crowning joy. I'm not saying, I don't know. I'm just saying, prosecutors are dirty as hell across the state of Tennessee. They don't even agree. They're so dirty, but so. He might have been a good prosecutor, I don't know. But I'm just saying, just because he was I'm a former prosecutor. Yeah. Well, that doesn't mean anything. It means you're a part of the dirty. That's true. You won't hear other people say that on the Charles Van Morgan. If you want me to hand out roses and tell you everything's pretty and practice psychiatry, when I had been to psychiatry school like a prosecutor thinks he's so arrogant. He talks about that mental thing of thinking you're great. Well, and while he's on there practicing psychiatry, where'd you go to Southern Drawers Law? Where'd you go to psychiatry school where you can decide that? Let me tell you something. I went to sociology school with a Master of Arts in criminology. I have that education. I'm a criminologist from the University of Tennessee, so I can practice criminology, right? And you practice psychiatry. What a joke these people are. Listen to what they're telling you. And look how stupid it is. And his video's got 40,000 views. I mean, really? because he's commenting on something particular. Now, I used to be a Tennessee State Trooper, and he's talking about those troopers that were terminated for cause, and one of them is fighting, and one of them got in a wreck, and he thinks they were drunk driving, but he doesn't know that, and they blamed it on their son or whatever. And my heart goes out to him. He was a sergeant with THP, and he's lost his career. I think that my personal opinion is that society is too punitive on people. There's no benefit in correcting and making your way better. Once they got you, they'll hang you out to dry. Doesn't matter what you do. Your behavior after the fact should have consequences. Now, he's apologizing, owned up to his mistake, and that is honorable. That is honorable. What he did when he was out on the road, risking his life for public safety, is honorable. So why are you dogging him, Mr. ESQ, that sits behind the desk that backs up a lot of corruption? I mean, my heart goes out to him, and I thank him for his service. Had I been the colonel over the highway patrol, I would have severely punished him. To take his career over something off duty, I don't know that I would have done that. I don't, And the other lady that helped somebody getting out of a DUI arrest, or that's trying to help one of her relatives, big deal. If you're the type of person that thinks we ought to lock everybody up in a box and throw away the key, and we need a lot of monkeys in cages and need a lot of people, that's why you look at people as monkeys. If you think that everybody and their brother ought to go to jail, they already are, and you like that and you appreciate that, then you damn control freak. Give people a break. They get a break. The people in public power get a break. They get completely out of crimes. Only people they're throwing in jail is people like me and you. So if you think that's okay, we ought to throw everybody in jail, then you're on the wrong damn channel. I don't think it's a good thing for people's freedoms to be taken away. I think we should limit that to as little time as we can, and only keep people in jail that are a serious danger, continued threat to society. That's human. That's humane. And if you disagree, then maybe you need to be locked up for a little while and see how you like it. The system is so corrupt. They give people breaks and let them out of crimes all the time, people in the upper echelon. They let them out of all kinds of dirty stuff all the time. Completely wiped off their record. That lady in the Board of Law Examiners that took my law license, saying I'm not candid when I was, they slapped her on the wrist, and now she's already got her law license back. Now, I should have had mine. But if you think, I mean, they give them breaks all the time. The only people they don't give breaks to. So if you're a person that stands against the breaks and want to be hard on crime, all you're arguing for is to be hard on crime against you. If that's what you think. If they give them breaks, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I don't like to see people go to jail. I don't like to see people being locked up. I don't like to see people severely punished for harshly, unjustifiably, and I'm all for where we can give them breaks. People get mad at pardons. I'm all for that. People deserve a pardon, give it to them. The system's stacked up against us. The system needs a break in stuff at times. It needs a lot more than what it's getting. As a caring person about even somebody that's made a mistake after they've learned a lesson and correct their behavior, I think we need to give them a damn break. So if you believe that, you're on the right channel. So here's my little advertisement. Charles Van Morgan news you'll want to hear: corrupt people in government power. So you're already on my YouTube channel. And so Southern Drawers Law is talking about the state system of pushing troopers to make arrests. And he said as long as even state prosecutors get money for convictions. So he's talking about there needs to be legislation to correct the system. So look at the view here. So So like, share, comment. He doesn't see the system as people, he sees people as system. I don't see the system as people. Yeah, okay. I'm calling people's names, and so, I mean, some of y'all's arguments. So I'm calling people by their names, and you say I don't see them as people. Yeah, people are part of systems, and the systems overrule the people. So Southern Drawers Law thinks that the legislature can fix this problem by making it not monetary in order for the laws to be enforced, taking that out of it, because troopers get paid premium overtime for arresting drunk drivers, because prosecutors get paid for convictions, so they have an incentive to get innocent people convicted. Like I said, it's feather in their cap. They probably don't go after the extreme cases. They go after the ones where people are sober, stone cold sober, because if they can get that through a jury, convince them that somebody stone cold sober is guilty, then they're real good at what they do, because that's what they do. They get a conviction. They want the hard ones, which are innocent people, and they get paid more when they get convictions. I didn't know that, so he explained that to me. I appreciate that. I didn't know prosecutors got money for convictions. I know that judges get money when they find somebody guilty. They get $6 a head that goes into their retirement. And the legislature is run by crooks. Lionel Lowell Russell's the legislature. He lied on me to get me fired. He went to the man's house that had just lost his son and used that emotional situation to frame a wrong against me. How insidious is that when I did nothing wrong? At a minimum, after I was in that pursuit, it was on the news. My sister was telling me about it. Because the man, they were interviewing the man that lost his son. He said the trooper, Sergeant Russell, came to his house and explained it to him. You know, how the trooper did something wrong. And he's a legislator now. So if you're expecting these insidious, crooked legislator politicians to correct the system, they're not going to. And I'll explain to you about how the system can be corrected by votes. He went to this man's house, Lowell Russell, where I was in a pursuit. I passed a wreck that I seen the tail end of the car, didn't look like a wreck, kept going trying to find the person I was in pursuit of. Even risked my life trying to get him out of the fire when Larry Russell was at the office, had his feet up on the desk. And he went to the man's house, and I explained to him on the scene. I didn't see the wreck explained to him. I saw, the tail end of it, and told him what happened. No crime, no wrong at all on my part. Even Internal Affairs on the first shot, until there was a hit put out on me, cleared me of the incident. Larry Russell went to the man's house inside him, told him that the trooper did wrong and that I was being investigated. At a minimum, he should have told him. It's so insidious, using that type of situation to infuriate somebody. What a dirty, sick individual. And that's your legislature in Tennessee, Lionel Lowell Russell. He's a liar. He's a dirty thug. Let's look at how many DUI arrests he made. And did job performance get him promoted, or $5,000 by another politician? And you're expecting that the legislature, Southern Drawers Law, to help correct the situation? Did you know that a man on the legislature got $5,000 to be promoted sergeant over somebody that led the whole state in drunk driving, and he lied on him to get him taken off the road? Did you know that, Southern Drawers Law? That practiced psychiatry without having any kind of education how arrogant you are, and you're talking about people being arrogant, having that mentality, and then you go on to practice psychiatry. Wow. So using that situation, and then Cameron Sexton's stealing money, and they're supposed to correct the situation. So don't trust your federal or state courts. That's the message. Don't trust your federal or state courts. They're crooked as hell. The Tennessee Board of Law Examiners decide who practices law. Decide who's a judge in state and federal courts. Because you cannot practice law in federal court, even though federal courts are supreme, unless you are licensed to practice law in Tennessee. So even a federal court, which are Supreme Courts, which are higher than state courts, the Tennessee judiciary, the Tennessee has infected the federal courts. So even your federal constitutional rights that Trump states are infected, falsely corrupted by Lisa Perlin, who won't let lawyers that will represent your constitutional rights represent you in a federal court. They're rigged. They got lawyers that are approved by her, and she's a liar. I'll show you she's a liar. And probably today, I'm going to put a transcript out, audio on YouTube, that lets you hear the ruling where I was under oath, what I said against these dirtbags. I told the truth. If I lied, it's called perjury. Statute of limitations not up. Come and arrest me, Lisa Perlin. You dirty liar. You filthy, dirty liar that stomps on constitutional rights of all Tennesseans. Look at your Board of Law Examiners in Nashville, Tennessee. Look at Jeff Long right over here on Gay Street. They violated Tennessee's constitutional rights. You won't get Tennessee constitutional rights because of these dirty lawyers. If I would have protected your rights, Mr. Long won't let me go into court. He adjudicated against me, won't let me go into court to protect your law. See, they don't like me saying that. They don't like me saying that. I'm supposed to say, oh, I fear the judiciary. I say the judiciary ought to fear the Constitution. That's our right. And they step all over it. And it's time we wake up and do something about it. Don't take it. Don't whitewash it. Don't play with these people. Fight them legitimately. Hello. So the Board of Law Examiners won't let you have a lawyer like me, graduated from law school. I slept in my van. I didn't have money. I had to go to Nashville. Slept in my van for one night a week, 2 nights a week on my last 2 years to study the law. Took test after test after test, years after years, studying, learning. Listen, I used to have a tape recorder that I left on the bench in front of the classes where I'd take the class and listen to it, play it back on the way home, and when I'd walk, listen to it in my ear, learning the law, learning the Constitution, learning people's constitutional rights, learning federal law, learning that the Constitution protects you from the whole power of government, protects you from their bullets, that piece of paper. They can't shoot you because of due process of law. That they can't violate your rights. And I would have went into court to protect you. I passed the bar exam twice. I'll let you hear the hearings where I tell them I'm an honest person. Give me my law license that I have earned. I'm an honest person. Explain to them in the hearing to their face, just like I'm telling you now, how you all have not been honest with me. Ooh, imagine that. You tell the truth in front of these arrogant people that say, we are the law. Yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not. We have rights against you, Lisa. You need to be arrested and taken to the jailhouse. You know how many people, the rights are violated because you appointed a lawyer and denied people like me? That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Lisa Lyon Perlin won't let me go into court. If you wanted to hire me today to go in there and stand up to one of these judges and say, Your Honor, he had a First Amendment right. Your Honor, they violated his Fourth Amendment right. They had no right to go in his house, Your Honor. Look what they did. Here's the facts of the case, Your Honor. I'm standing up for my client. They don't want that. They don't want a lawyer to do that. They want a lawyer that says, Your Honor, you're right. I understand. You're right. Your opinion's right. We'll try to appeal it, but you're right, Your Honor. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, Your Honor, you let a deputy sheriff tamper with a witness. That is a criminal act, Your Honor. You shouldn't do that. That's wrong. You didn't do right. You're a crooked judge. They don't want that. No. We got to uphold the establishment of these judges. No, I'm not going to do that. It's not going to happen. I stand up for the populace. They stand up for Bill Haslam, who appointed him and is going to appoint him to a higher judgeship through their Christian buddy, Governor Bill Lee. So that's why they want me to be a lawyer, because I'm on your side. And people in government power and people in government offices and judges are not on your side. They're not. Wake up. I'm telling you, if you think they are, you go with it. I know for a fact they are not. They're dirty, crook criminals worse than street thugs. I'm not practicing sociology without a license. I graduated from sociology school at a major university where one of the greatest crooks in the state of Tennessee has his name on the building but never studied there. Those are facts. Listen to what I'm telling you. I might not have a law license, but I can speak the truth. I've been trained to do that from a public sidewalk with my pulpit, the Henley Street Bridge. So thank y'all for listening. We'll go on with the annihilation with words of the Tennessee government because they're crooked and dirty as hell. Wake up and vote them out. So you hear the beautiful bell there. So let's go on with this like, share, comment. So contribute if you can. Hit the square icon. Hit the Cash App. Southern Drawers Law. Southern Drawers Law is what I call him. Even asked for contributions, and he's a lawyer. I don't have the benefit of making a living and paying back my student loan with my practicing law because they stole that from me. Judges stole from me, adjudicated a lie, and took money from me. Several times they have. They don't want the truth. They don't care about the Constitution. They want your money. That's dirty as hell. That's how dirty they are. I made a complaint against the judiciary. And they used the complaint not to investigate the judiciary. They used the complaint to brand me and to blackball me. Even used it, you'll hear the tape, even used it in my denial of my law license. Say, we're denying your law license because you made a complaint against the judiciary. So you are not allowed, they've sent this message, it's in the ruling, you're not allowed to complain against the Tennessee judiciary. Really? That's pretty cool when you can do whatever the hell you want to do and somebody can't even complain against you, because if you complain, you're branded. You can't be a lawyer if you complain. What if you got a legitimate complaint? Can't complain against the judiciary. What if they violate somebody's constitutional rights? Can't complain against the judiciary. Does that sound reasonable to you? Lisa Pearl and I'll complain against the Tennessee judiciary, and you, as part of the Tennessee judiciary, to the whole public, about 1.1 million people. You don't like that? I'm here on the sidewalk. Come here and stop me. I got a constitutional right. Protects me from your dirty ass, you piece of shit. It's exactly what they are. And if you think I'm being exaggerated, wait till you get put in jail by one of their appointed attorneys that's supposed to represent you, that represents a judge, that fabricates evidence, lets a deputy sheriff tell us what to say under oath, and you go to jail for years and years because Lisa Perlin won't let somebody that stops them and protects you with the Constitution. We don't have constitutional courts in Tennessee. We have courts in Tennessee that protect Bill Haslam. You think he'll ever go to jail? Hell no, because the Constitution applies to him but not you. So there you go. They're guarding judges from counted of crimes and not allowing lawyers like me to defend them. They're guarding judges from being convicted of crimes, not allowing people like me to defend them. Lawyers do this dirty stuff from the bench all the time, and they're Lisa Perlin's guarding them. I may email Lisa Perlin a copy of this, so let her see firsthand. They thought it would shut me up by denying me my law license. They didn't know that, I'm like little David. I'll throw the rock. The whole world knows what you're doing. So let's talk about Jeffrey Ward. They're dangerous and violent. Now, he chased me down the street down here. He chased me down the street. Jeffrey Ward, one of the members of the Board of Law Examiners, chased me down the street. I went to a hearing exercising my First Amendment constitutional rights. After they turned me down for my law license, I filed a suit in federal court. If you have a dispute with somebody, they don't want to work it out this way. They don't care about the law. They don't care about the law. They care about being in power. They don't care about their own courts. They don't care. Their courts are rigged. After they turned me down for my Tennessee law license the first time, I filed a suit in federal court. Am I right? If you have a dispute with somebody, the way to handle it is not shooting it out in the street, which is what they want. I'm telling you, that's what they want. It is to file suit in courts. The problem with that is courts are crooked. They're infected by their corruption. They're infected by their deciding who practices law, who's the judge, and who's not. They're not affected by the Constitution. They could care less about the Constitution. It doesn't matter to them. Our protection is gone. We need to vote to get it back. So they don't care about your constitutional right. They want to fight it out on the street. They sent me an email. I filed in federal suit. They used my lawsuit against me, saying that since I filed a lawsuit against them, since I had a disagreement, I worked it out appropriately, trying to work it out appropriately, in a courtroom, wrote out my issues, what they did wrong, and submitted it into court for a judge to adjudicate, and hopefully a jury to decide who was right or wrong, me or the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners. That's the right way to handle it. They said because I did that, because I sued them legitimately, more people need to sue them. The federal judges are crooked. They wouldn't hear the case. Because I filed suit, they used that against me. Because I used the legal proceeding. Imagine that. Lawyers got mad because you sued them. Wow, isn't that funny? We can sue you, deny your law license, step on the Constitution. But if you sue us, we're lawyers. Don't you do that. You don't have a right to do that. You should have. You should have. So I sued them. I might sue them again. That's the right way to handle it. I'm not going to go up there and shoot that police of Pearland. I'm not going to go out here on the street, chase Jeffrey Ward down and beat him over the head. I'm not like that. I'm a peace-loving person. They are like that. They're violent. I'm telling you, if you'll listen to me, I'm telling you. Our judges, our judiciary, the lawyers, the Board of Law Examiners are violent and dangerous. They don't believe in law and order. Imagine that. You think a judge or a Board of Law Examiners, they believe in law and order. No, they don't. No, they don't. Don't listen to what they say. They'll tell you that. They'll get on TV and say, we adjudicate law and order, and that criminal violated the law, and we're taking him to courts. Their courts are full of violent, not criminals, not the people that they've drug in there. They're full of violent attorneys, dangerous judges that will chop your damn head off, that will kill you. That's the truth. You look at Jeffrey Ward. I'll provide a little evidence here. You said lawyers are violent. Well, let me tell you a little evidence. They can't deny this evidence. Saw it with my own eyes, my own 4 eyes. Mr. Jeffrey Ward, how you doing, Mr. Ward? I'm right out here on the sidewalk. I didn't run from you. I'm never going to run from you. I got a First Amendment right to do this. You don't like it? Stand on the other side and run me down, point at me, laugh at me, and yell if you want to. I'm telling people the facts. I got a right to get the truth out, and you can get your lies out. You dirty attorney that doesn't deserve to be attorney. You violent man. And besides that, chase me. Little man, I'm 6'2", 240 pounds. I arrested more people than anybody in the state. They call me a coward. Drunk people, by myself at night. You think I'm afraid of your little ass, you little cowardly man? You know, you let your anger oversee your abilities, boy. You come out here and try to hurt me, it ain't going to work out well for you, dude. So you better get a little knowledge and figure out what you're trying to hurt, stupid fool. But I'm just saying, he lost his temper. It's a good thing he didn't get a hold of me. I protected him. But here's what he did. Jeffrey Ward, hey, Jeffrey. Yeah, you little short weakling. You know, when I was a trooper, I worked out with weights and learned how to fight, to confront evil, and take violent, dangerous people off the road. And these people are stupid as hell too. And little Jeffrey Ward comes after me. I mean, you know, what are you gonna do when you catch me, Jeffrey? What are you gonna do? You gonna grab me by the arm, try to throw me on the ground? I'm not gonna be thrown on the ground by you, dude. You're not big enough or powerful enough to do that. Your anger ain't gonna get by that, you little weakling, sissy, girly man. And there's nothing wrong with a girly girl, and nothing wrong with a girly man. There's something wrong with that guy. But I went to a hearing. They sent me an email after they turned me down. I filed a lawsuit. They used a lawsuit against me. I'll show you the hearing. You can't sue them. Wow. It's amazing. I did file a lawsuit. I might file another one, Lisa Pearland. Got a First Amendment right, a constitutional right to go through the courts. The reason I don't is the courts are so crooked. They'll adjudicate for you, won't they? Let's see if the people in the state of Tennessee adjudicate for you, you dirty liar. 1.1 million people have heard how dirty the Tennessee judiciary is and the system. So I went to a hearing they sent me an email saying that Jeffrey Ward was applying for a judgeship in Tennessee, and it was an open hearing, public comment welcome in the email that I got. And they were having it, fortunately enough, I don't have a lot of money, right over here at the Howard Baker Center for Public Policy on the UT campus, where I got a degree from there. So Jeffrey Ward was going to be interviewed. Now, he's the same judge that sat on the bench one seat down. The next seat from him was another lawyer who adjudicated against me, another judge who adjudicated against me that was committing a felony of dishonesty at the time. So he's sitting right beside a now convicted, unconvicted felon, because they unconvict themselves. You know how they write it off and it's not on the record. Barbara Zulica, look this stuff up. Barbara Zulica adjudicated I'm not honest while she was stealing your money. It'd be almost funny, except for now you can go to jail because they say I'm not honest and they have dishonest attorneys representing you in their crooked courts in the state of Tennessee. Something needs to be done about it. I'm doing something about it. So I went to that public hearing. The public's welcome. I got turned down by Jeffrey Ward in their line little procedure that I'll put out the hearing today. You'll be able to hear what Mr. Jeffrey Ward said. I'll put it out audio. Listen to it today. About why they turned me down for my law license. I know what they said, but you can listen to the hearing. Audio transcript. He turned me down, and I think, and this is what they don't like, I think with facts and evidence that they were wrong. You talk to attorneys every day. If you graduate from law school, you pass the bar exam, that'll give you your law license. I mean, really? You know why they don't? Because you might stand up for people's constitutional rights, and you might not stand up to keep them in power, because that's what it's about. It's not about the Constitution. It's about their power over you, and they're concerned that there's a lot more people in Tennessee than their little crooked judiciary. So I went to the hearing. I sued him, and I went to the hearing. He turned me down in his little crooked court system. And went to the hearing. So they called his name. He was looking at me smiling when I was in there. I was going to tell the truth about him. My opinion, I have a right to public comment with him. He shouldn't be a lawyer. But he turned me down for my law license. I have a heart for people. I told the truth in the hearing. They denied me my law license wrongfully, unjustifiably, under stuff that's not even legal. They said that I'm not candid, when that's not true. I told the truth, and I was very candid. They weren't candid. They lied. So they called his name, and when they called his name, I stood up and I'd like to make a comment. And they said the time for comments is passed. Of course it had. How you doing? Of course it had. Of course it had passed, because they didn't want me to make a public comment. They just put that out there, that propaganda that the public makes comments about the judges. No, they don't. No, they don't. You're not allowed to make public comments about those people that are applying for judgeships. They just put that out. It's propaganda. It's lies. You can't say derogatory stuff about them. The only public comment they'll allow is good public comment. If you want to go in there and say Jeffrey Ward's a good man, I'm glad he allowed people to lie on me and set aside a convicted felon. The judiciary needs to straighten up, and we need honest judges. We don't need people like him that keep honest lawyers out of courtroom, especially older people than him, because they violated age discrimination, which is one thing I sued him for in a court of law. I alleged age discrimination. Older people, they know we're smarter than them. They know we're smarter than them. They know we've lived life and seen how crooked they are, seen some things, and they don't want us to be a lawyer, because they know we won't stand for it. And they know we know what the hell's going on. That we don't take stuff at face glance, that we lived a life and we see things, and we're a little smarter than an 18, 19-year-old whom they allow law license to on a daily basis, because they can fool and indoctrinate them. And I'm just saying, and I'll get into that in just a second, but so I spoke up against him. Tried to. And I've said, of course it's past the time. But they got the gist that I wasn't about to say something nice about him. I was about to tell the truth. And I got that email on invitation. I didn't do anything wrong. There was nothing wrong about what I did. And I didn't continue to comment or nothing. I left the hearing. Left. And then I was over here on Gay Street, where he came down here from Greenville. Jeffrey Ward came down here from Greenville to interview for a more higher judgeship And he might have damn sure got it after he adjudicated something that was false in their other hearing, adjudicating. No, I'm not candid. I sound pretty damn candid, don't I? It's not the candor they're wanting. They want candor against the public. They don't want candor against you, against them. They want candor against the public. So let me see if I got a little picture of Jeffrey Ward. You know, they put my picture out all over the state, endangering my children's lives. I think it's funny to put their pictures out all over the state. And I got a constitutional right to do that. They're in public power. If they don't like it, Gay Street Bridge, or Henley Street Bridge. I'll tell them I'm on the Gay Street Bridge, so they go to the wrong location. If they don't like what I'm doing, I'm on the Gay Street Bridge. Gay Street Bridge, go over there and get me. a little tactical stuff here. So here he is, Jeffrey Ward. Fine man he is, a lawyer and a liar. So he's violent. He's violent. He's a violent man, dangerous man. This is an attorney and a violent man. He's very violent. So I'm over here after I did that, which I didn't do nothing wrong. Got a right to do that. But you don't have a right to do what you have a right to do. Because if you do what you got a right to do under the Constitution, these people will step over the line and be violent towards you. They will try to hurt you physically. In nobody's world is that acceptable. And these attorneys, and here's one of them, that decides whether people can practice law is violent himself. Violent. I've seen it with my own eyes. I ain't got to read something. I ain't got to decipher, figure. I know what he did. I've seen it with my own eyes. Now he's damn lucky that he didn't accomplish his task, because it wouldn't have worked out well for him. It won't work out for him today. Just saying. Enjoy your fancy retirement and your law license. Don't try to hurt me. I will defend myself, you dirtbag. Look at my screenshot. I'm ready. Leave me alone. I'm not coming after you. You come after me. And we'll have a discussion. We'll just leave it that way, trying to stay on YouTube. So there's Jeffrey Ward. Now here's what he did. Now, he turned me down for my law license. They got mad at me for not being violent, for suing them. Suing them in a court of law. Wow. I'm just telling you, that's what they did. It's freedom of speech. It's not just freedom of speech, it's truthful speech. I'm under defamation. If it's false, sue me. Defamation is false communication. This ain't false communication, it's true. Now they get by with lies because unprivileged false communication is defamation. They are privileged because court proceedings are privileged. Judge can lie about stuff. They can lie in their courtrooms. That's privilege. So his lie was privileged. They can lie to uphold the establishment, to protect the judiciary against judges that would uphold your constitutional rights, where I've been fighting for you. And I was on Gay Street in my taxi. That's the best job I can get, trying to make a living. I wasn't hurting him, exercising my constitutional rights. But depending on what status scale you're at, you got constitutional rights. Really? Really? All men are created equal, Mr. Ward. And some men work out, lift weights, practice self-defense maneuvers from their former law enforcement days, and they'll whip your ass, boy. Stick to a courtroom arguing your lies. Don't try to work it out on the street with me. I'm trying to help you out, because it will work out very badly for you. And I hate to stain my clothes, quite frankly, boy, little man. So, I mean, give me a break. They called me a coward, and I arrested more people than anybody in the state for drunk driving, hundreds and hundreds. And I'm a coward. How many times do you think I had people try to hurt me? Several. No scratches on me. Very proficient in what I did. Very proficient in what I did. I'm pretty good at that area of proficiency. And I'm getting a little bit older now. But I'm just saying, Jeffrey, man to whatever the hell you think you are, you're not a man. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'll have to do stuff that you never thought was humanly possible in a matter of seconds that will be very painful to you and will cause you to regret what you did. So I'm over here on Gay Street, and that's what this idiot did. Bad data. They got bad data. I mean, you didn't read about me. You read the papers that said Charles Van Morgan's a coward while I'm pursuing somebody. They weren't chasing me. So if you want to chase me, I'm not running. I'm not running, Lion Lowell Russell. I'm after you, boy. And we're going to have a little conversation, not violently like you'd like to be. He's a violent man. Get everybody out of here. Little people got killed in the legislature. So I'm on Gay Street at a red light driving a taxi, and he comes up, sees me as I pass him. I stop at a red light. He comes up down the road, headed towards at a fast speed. He was headed towards me. I mean, I could tell. I seen him. He was running towards me, trying to get a hold of me, and I think he was going to say, I don't know, I think he's going to try to hurt me. He was running toward me. I tried to do something to me now, and he would have told the police, you know, he's a lawyer, a board of law examiners, that I got turned down from my law license and I'd attacked him or something. They would have put me in jail. I mean, he would have lied about that. Why would I have attacked him for? I mean, why would he have attacked me for? Well, maybe because I went to a hearing, tried to make sure he wasn't a judge, exercised my constitutional rights. He shouldn't be a judge, shouldn't be a lawyer. Shouldn't be a lawyer. He shouldn't be. In my opinion, he shouldn't be a lawyer. He's violent. He's dangerous. A lot of lawyers in Tennessee are violent and dangerous. That's the damn truth about the matter. When you go into court of law, look at the criminal defendant when they got in handcuffs there. When they got in handcuffs. I'm a sociologist. I'm past the school on sociology, criminology. My emphasis is in criminology. I'm telling you, from a scientific point of view, you look at the guy there they got in handcuffs, and you look sociologists and people that's framing. People say, "Oh, that guy's dangerous. He's dangerous." And people go in the courtroom and listen to this, a little unique perspective from not Southern Drawers Law that practiced psychiatry, from Charles Van Morgan, graduate of the University of Tennessee, in a Master of Arts, advanced level degree in this study, with an emphasis in criminology. That's who's talking now. You got people on here spouting their mouth off. Where'd you go to school at? What books have you read? What studies have you examined? How old are you? Have you seen a few things? So, I'm very credible, very honest. The reason why they discredit me is I'm not going along with the lamestring thinking. I'm not going to shock somebody like the Milgram study when they don't deserve to be shocked. I'm going to say, hell no, I'm not doing that. And right now I'm saying, hell no, I'm not going along with Tennessee judiciary and violence when it shouldn't be going on. So when you go into a courtroom, look at the guy there with handcuffs on. Now think about this. Nobody's ever told you this before. The Charles Van Morgan Show, unbridled news, unbridled truth from an educated perspective. You look at the guy with handcuffs on. That's a violent person. You think, I hope you don't get out of those handcuffs. Oh man, it'd be bad in here. He's violent. He's dangerous. Look around at the judge. Look at the judge. Look at Mr. Jeffrey Ward. He was a judge in my case. Maybe he's dangerous. You ever thought about that? Has that ever crossed your mind that judge might attack me? One did try to me. The bad thing about it for him is, you know, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it. It won't work out good. So I mean, that's my forte. I'm a fighter, a pretty damn good one. And that's why I went to law school, to learn people see things differently. I learned legal rules. There's more than one way to fight. You know, with your fist, you're going to lose. Don't do it that way. And there's learning legal techniques and legal procedures and legal concepts to fight wrong. And that's what I went to law school for. Every legal procedure, every legal concept that I learned, the First Amendment, I looked at them as how to use those concepts to fight evil for good. Now, you think that just because they turn me down, I can't go in a courtroom and fight for you in a courtroom? With you as my client, that I'm not going to fight for you against them, they're evil, using the fighting legal concepts that I learned in law school? Well, I got them. So, telling you the truth about them. So when you're in a courtroom, look at the judge. Look at Mr. Ward. You look at the criminal defendant, he might be the nicest, safest person in the courtroom just because they got him handcuffed. Maybe they violently jerk him out of his house, violating the Fourth Amendment. You ever thought about that? Maybe the judge that signed the warrant that he shouldn't have is the most violent, dangerous person in the courtroom. People say, well, you're saying that the judge is violent and dangerous? I'm telling you, I'm not just implying that, I'm telling you that Mr. Jeffrey Ward is a violent judge. He was. That's a fact. I've seen it with my own eyes. I ain't got to have CNN or NBC or CBS or a news reporter tell me that. I'm telling you, I know that. So I'm asking you, when you go in the courtroom, look around, look at the judge. Is he more violent and dangerous than that maybe, possibly, until proven guilty, the innocent man sitting there in handcuffs? They got him in handcuffs. He might be dangerous. No, the judge might be dangerous, very dangerous, extremely dangerous. Might have an innocent person in there. You ever thought about that? They do it all day long in Russia. They do it all day long in the United States of America. Wake up or go to jail. I'm just saying, you're on the way. You think you can hide behind the couch and risk? If they want your property, they want anything you got, they'll take it. The most dangerous people in the courtroom, sometimes, a lot of times, is the judge. And look at your attorney. Look at your attorney that's representing you, or that's representing that dangerous criminal defendant. They may be more dangerous than them. They may be completely innocent. So have you ever thought about that way? Little professional, educated, have a right to say sociology, unlike Southern Drawers Law, practices psychiatry without a license. I'm practicing sociology, and I'm a sociologist, and that's a fact. It's called white-collar crime. Look it up. Committed by judges, people in authority, are much more dangerous and violent to your safety, health, protection, well-being, not only in chasing somebody innocent down the road just for exercising their First Amendment constitutional rights, just by going to a hearing not to please you, to speak the truth out for the public, violently chased down by him. Now, the light turned green, fortunately for him. And I'm not a violent, stupid, or dangerous person in the least. I'm very God-fearing. But thankfully for him, the light turned green, and I went on. But he had to grab my car and try to get in my car. You know, I had my van at that time, actually the doors wouldn't lock. I was trying to get them fixed. And I would have had to defend myself. And I'm not going to stop the car and get out and have a street fight with some idiot in the road. So I went on. But I'm just telling you, Mr. Jeffrey Ward is a violent, dangerous man. Is a violent, dangerous man that violates people's constitutional rights. So the guy gets fights all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So like, share, comment. We got a few people in here. So like, share, comment. So the most dangerous people might be the judge, might be your attorney, might be court officials, might be the policeman, not the criminal defendant. That's in handcuffs. They might be the safest person in the courtroom. So, Mr. Long, Board of Law Examiners, these are people that approve lawyers to represent you. They get to decide who represents you. You don't decide that. They decide who's in the pool of people who represent you. They decide that people that represent you are people that will back up the judiciary in their crimes against humanity. That's what they decide. That's what Mr. Long decided. Now, people in my hearing, the last one, and it's out on video now, all over the state from different areas were on the Board of Law Examiners deciding who got to be an attorney and who didn't get to be an attorney. And they decide if you're blackballed, not that you did anything wrong, they're going to lie on you and they're going to say you don't get to be an attorney. If you're young and impressionable, and they can get you to go along with their indoctrination to allow judges to violate people's constitutional rights, what they taught you, that means nothing if a judge decides it doesn't. They're the arbitrator of the Constitution, and they arbitrate the Constitution. Doesn't apply to you. Doesn't mean nothing to you. That's what they, and we don't got to go along with that. So Mr. Long backed up his friend, Mr. McMillan, that violates somebody's constitutional rights. So I made a complaint against the judge through their procedure. So I'm always doing things right and doing it through the proper procedure. I don't do things violently. I go through the proper procedures. They don't. The people in the law don't follow the legal procedures. They don't do it. It don't mean nothing. It's a facade. They got these rules out for you, and if you mess them up, oh my gosh, full price. But them behind the scenes, they got these rules, and they don't obey any rules that they got. They don't obey any of them. So that's what they do. Let me get that off the screen. So that's what they do. So the judiciary and the lawyers don't follow rules. So Mr. Long, I made a complaint against his buddy, Mr. Judge McMillan, who violated the Constitution, somebody's constitutional rights, in that they didn't give them due process of law, the Fifth Amendment. They got it. They have to follow the Constitution. If they like it, if they don't like it, they swear, judges, I'll uphold the Constitution. And then they violate it. Then they lie about it. They're dirty liars. So Judge McMillan violated the Constitution. I wrote out a complaint. I'm not just saying that. He violated the Constitution. I'm not a coward. I wrote it out. This is what he did, specifically how he violated the United States Constitution. Violated somebody's rights. He's a judge. Didn't give him due process. Didn't give him a fair hearing before an impartial tribunal. Allowed witness tampering. I wrote it out and sent it to the Board of Judicial Conduct. They used that against me because I reported a judge, saying because you reported a judge, they didn't look into the complaint. They just said, well, you wrote your name on a complaint against a judge. They didn't mention it was legitimate. They didn't mention that. They didn't mention it's on tape. It could have been proven. They hide that stuff. They hide all the truth. And just say, because you complained about something that need to be complained about, we're not going to let you be a lawyer because we don't need lawyers in the courtroom that stand up against people's constitutional rights. We need lawyers in the courtroom that stand up for the judges while they're violating your constitutional rights. You ever thought about that? You ever thought about that? That's the truth. You won't hear this anywhere else. Charles Van Morgan. Listen to Southern Drawers Law. Listen to the civil rights attorney. They're not going to tell you the truth. They can't. They'll pull their law license. So, and I can care less what they say about me. And I'm not saying everything they do is wrong. I'm just saying they're part of a system that is violation of the Constitution and against you. So, Mr. Ward, Mr. Long, in this last hearing just a few days ago, he mentions that I filed that complaint against the judiciary. And he starts investigating the complaint and expects me, well, I'm on, they already dismissed the complaint. Said, thank you for complaining. No issue here. They didn't investigate it. That's a lie. There was an issue. Very blatant and honest. Even a lawyer in the courtroom told me, I can't believe this is going on. But he's not going to complain because he's not supposed to complain. Because he's part of a system and they have to take his law license from him. So Mr. Long starts backing up his friend in my court hearing. He's got me under oath. He's not under oath. He even said, I'm not under oath. Yeah, I know, you liar. So you lie while you're trying to be a prosecutor when you're supposed to be an unbiased judge. You're not unbiased. You're a little nasty thug, a little fat nasty thug that's trying to back up the false judiciary that stepped on people's constitutional rights. You're a constitutional right advocator because you advocate a judge that violates people's constitutional rights. So he's asking me in their little rogue courtroom, he's asking me about Mr. McMillan, and he's saying, because I wrote in the complaint how he allowed another person, he allowed a sheriff's deputy to tamper with a witness and put everybody that came before his court in jail for 2 days. That he's done it not allowing people to defend themselves, not running a court system that's constitutional. And he said, how do I know that for 2 days that he and he's thinking I'd back down and say, oh, I'm sorry, I complained against that judge, I apologize. And I hell the judiciary, hell Mr. Baumgardner, hell him raping people, hell the judiciary. How about if they violate the Constitution, this is a constitutional republic. This is Constitution, but it's not. It's a judicial republic because they decide what to hide and what not to hide. Mr. Long tries to question me about McMillan, tries to get me to back up. We decided your complaint's unjust, and you're going to go along with that. And if you go along with our lie, you might get your law license. Hey, Mr. Long, how you doing, you dirty man? You little fat man. I wouldn't advise you to be like the other Board of Law Examiners that tried to attack me on the street. It won't work out well for you either. Enjoy your nice, fancy, rigged retirement from your corrupt judicial system and leave me the hell alone. Let me say what I want to, because I'm going to, whether you approve of it or whether you don't. So that's my message to you. Stay in your little fat stay in your courtroom, you little fat man. Leave me alone. This is your warning. There's not 2 or 3 warnings. That's your only one. I'm not going to chase you down. You try to chase me down, and it won't be good for you, little fat boy, little bot attorney. So how do I know you're a bot attorney? I'll tell you how I know that. Attorneys from all over the state, none of them defended Judge McMillan because Judge McMillan doesn't practice law in the area that they're in. So why would Mr. Long defend Mr. McMillan? Why didn't an attorney in West Tennessee defend him? Why didn't an attorney in Middle Tennessee defend him? That was there in the hearing. Because Mr. Long probably, most likely, benefits from Mr. McMillan being on the bench because they're friends. He wins a lot of cases through him, right? So it's about a little friendship. It ain't about the Constitution. I could care less if Mr. McMillan violates the Constitution because he's my friend. He rules in my favor. So it's not about Constitution. It's not about the law. It's about who's your buddy, who's your daddy, who's your relative, who pays your bills. Yeah, right. Step on people's rights, Mr. Long, you dirty man. Ought to be in a courtroom right now, but you are making a lot of money, ain't you? Wow, works out well for you, dirty thief thug. You didn't think I'd be on the sidewalk speaking of 1.1 million people and going up talking about how crooked you are. Go in their courtroom. Don't look at the dirty. Don't look at what they call you. They tell you is a dirty thief in jail clothes with handcuffs on. Look at the dirty judiciary that's violent and dangerous. Haul you off to jail when you didn't even do a damn thing wrong. That's what they do. That's what Mr. Long condones. So they used that against me. That I complained through their procedure against the judge, a legitimate complaint. He lied about it. And so he's questioning me, trying to get me to back down, we'll shock you, we'll not give you your law license. You can have your dirty law license. I'm not gonna, you can have them, dude. You can have them. They need to get rid of unconstitutional judges and put lawyers in a courtroom instead of allowing rapes to go on in that dirty courthouse like it's going on in the past. So he backed up his buddy, nobody else in the state, because he's right here with his buddy, and backed up his friend. So Mr. Barker, in the first hearing against me, used some of my stuff that happened in law enforcement against me. When you're in law enforcement, brought up stuff I was cleared over, even justified right, just to muddy the water. What a dirty man. He's dead now. He's a former Supreme Court justice. Getting money after he retired from the bench, Mr. Barker, Unjustice Barker, the dirtbag that he is, that he was. You can't defame a dead person, so I'm telling the truth about the other people either, so he can't even sue me for defamation. It's the truth. He's a dirty judge. He's a dirty man. Judge Barker, you got to honor the judiciary. Why? Is that in the Constitution, honor the judiciary? Is it in the Constitution I got a right to speak out against the judiciary? yeah. But, boy, you don't. I'm telling you, I need to keep my head down. I do. So Mr. Barker used stuff in law enforcement. You piss people off in law enforcement all the time, protecting other people. When somebody complains about something, somebody calls in a drunk driver, or you go to a wreck where a drunk driver's hitting an innocent person, that innocent person's got their arm broke, and they're saying that person hit me and that person's drunk, and you go over there and tell the drunk person, give them a sobriety test, arrest them. You say you're under arrest, and you're protecting that innocent person. That innocent person that got hit by a drunk driver don't have to arrest them. You do. You're working for the state. You're putting yourself between what they did and an innocent person, protecting an innocent person. But that drunk driver is going to be mad as hell at you. But you're doing the right thing. So for Judge Barker to use my law enforcement activities because I protected the public and made people mad that hurt other people, that's disgusting. He's a disgusting justice, along with a lot of other justices in the state. They're unjust. Bringing that out. Now, I guarantee you that Mr. Barker did a lot in his rulings, and I haven't read none of his trash, because it's mostly trash, I bet. Because I know what kind of person he is. I've seen him up close and personal. He's a dirty man. Some of the things he said to me while I'm trying to get my law license. Trying to get your law license opens you up to any kind of disgusting, despicable thing they want to say to you. Really? How about me say disgusting, despicable things to them? I won't do that. How about me speak the truth about them that just happens to be that they're disgusting and despicable? How about that? Yeah, that's what I'm doing, ain't it? Send them a copy of this. Disgusting people stomp all over the Constitution. They need to get out. We ain't getting the Constitution out. So Mr. Barker brings up stuff in my previous law enforcement where I protected people's rights and people got mad at me. Big whoop. Let's look at what he ruled in his adjudications. I bet he ruled some pretty disgusting things. Should I have brought up in that hearing, well, Mr. Barker, under the judicial bench, you ruled this and this, and I don't think that was right. People got mad at you. How unfair! How unfair is that? Fifth Amendment, due process, notice, and a hearing, a fair hearing. Is that fair? They don't have fair hearings. They got rogue hearings. They got hearings. They say, this is where we want to go. We're not giving him his law license. And how we're going to get there is when we have him in front of us, we're going to find reasons not to give him to him, to exploit that, and write it down in a rogue, dirty lie against him while we're committing felonies of dishonesty. We're going to allege that he's not honest. Pretty good trick, liars. And then we're going to make him believe that because people are weak. They'll go along with the program. No, I won't. You need to get out of our courts. You need to write out your warrant. You know what you do, Mr. Jeffrey Ward. You know what you did. You know what you did, Mr. Long. You know what you do every day. And you know what? Mr. Barker can't turn himself in. He's deceased now. God rest his soul. And write your warrant out. Turn yourself into the detention facility where you allow people to go every day because you allow their constitutional rights to be violated. Now, that's just the truth. Stand up against the judicial system. They're a bunch of dirty crooks. They're wrong. And I'm not. So... and I'm saying this to protect you. Let's see how many people we got in here. We got quite a few. Like, share, comment, and join the show. And we thank y'all so very much for listening. So, McMillan, who Mr. Long was backing up, had me in their courtroom. And if you go in their courtrooms, you go in a courtroom to get justice. You go in a courtroom protected by the Constitution. A judge can't do anything you want. Got a Constitution, he's got to follow rules. In Russia, a judge can do anything they want to do. You see the glass pictures where they're in jail? In America, a judge can do anything they want to do. They just lie to you and say they follow the Constitution. No, they don't. Judge McMillan said some vile, sick things to me. Mr. Long, the dirty judge that he is, that denied me the right to practice law to defend you against him and his dirty judge friend McMillan, tried to say some wrong things about me. Tried to act like I didn't know what I was talking about. But I'd had enough. I went to their first hearing where they turned me down for my law license. They wrote me back a letter, disgusting stuff. I went in with a lawyer, defended myself. We argued the law and the facts, showed my history, had witnesses from all over the state, my former supervisors, asking them to give me my law license. They made me out to be a villain, wrongfully. They knew they didn't want to give me my law license and went on to figure out how to do that because Bill Gibbons and the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, his wife, they know they got people in the judiciary that they got to police. Not because it's the truth, the law, and the facts. had nothing to do with the Constitution. And he tried to say some stuff to me to indicate I was a liar. I didn't go along with the program. He asked me questions about how I knew Judge McMillan, that he found people guilty for 2 days and other judges didn't, because my attorney sat in there and said he did, and because the day I was in there, everybody was convicted, and everybody paid a fine and contributed to his retirement. So I didn't back down one bit. I ain't backing down today, Mr. Long. What I'm going to do, Mr. Long, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not violent or dangerous. I'm going to spread the internet and YouTube with the truth about your dirty judicial system that causes people to go to jail. I'm going to spread it about how violent, dangerous, and corrupt you sick people are. And maybe, just maybe, people will vote you all out of office and straighten out the system to be in people's favor. So they allege I was subpoenaed to court while running for office in Tennessee. While I was out trying to get votes, running them down, they subpoenaed me to court. You can't exercise your First Amendment right. So, and they running for office to stop me from putting out the truth. I was arrested for running for office. Degrees, studied, worked, has been lazy, stole from employees. His business did. I have so talk about Mr. Lefevre, a judge in Tennessee. He put out his ruling past the TCA code, past 90 days on St. Patrick's Day. So these judges don't even have to follow the law. The Tennessee Board of Law Examiners put out their ruling against me, denying me my law license on Valentine's Day. They're sending a message. We don't care. We don't care about what's right. We care about sending you a message. We're in complete control. Let me tell you what. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. And the reason that they do a lot of this stuff is because of who's their daddy, who they're related to. Judge Bill Gibbons adjudicated against me. Judge Bill Gibbons is the one over the Highway Patrol that ruled against me, that decided that I should be fired from the Highway Patrol. He was commissioner of the Department of Safety. So when he decided that, I would not get a fair judicial ruling in the state of Tennessee, but not because of the truth. I presented truth. If you think, well, I've got the truth and the facts are in my favor, and this is what I want to dispel this myth of people. The myth is that if you have the truth and the facts and you got a lawyer and somebody's suing you, or you're suing somebody for violating your rights or taking your property or doing something wrong to you, and you think in a Tennessee courtroom or even in the federal courtroom that sits in Tennessee, if you think, I'm going to smell this myth, you're thinking, and I'm a sociologist, I'm going to tell you the truth. Your thinking is that if I get these witnesses together, I get this evidence, I get this video, whatever evidence you got, I got in a lawyer, and I go into court, and I tell the judge, hey, here's our evidence, get witnesses testify, and you think the judge will decide, or let me take it to a jury, decide in my favor because it's the truth. That's the truth. That's not true. That is a myth. That is false. You have all the evidence, you got the truth, you got right, you got the preponderance of the evidence, or in a criminal court, guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, or they don't have guilt beyond a reasonable doubt if they're accusing you of a crime. It's a myth to think that you can prove this case. You have the evidence, have the witness. It's pretty clear, very clear. I mean, then you're going to get a just decision in a courtroom. That is a myth. Let me explain to you how it is. Let me explain to you how it really is from a sociologist's point of view. From a sociologist's point of view, I'm not like Southern Drawers Law that says practice psychiatry. I'm Charles Van Morgan. I have a Master of Arts in Criminology, and this is the way it is. This is Tennessee and federal courts in Tennessee. Now, Mr. Bill Gibbons lied on me and said that either way, if I seen the car, didn't see it, I still should be fired, which is not true. Not true. Their own expert witness that works for them said that that's not true. Mr. Bill Gibbons is not an expert. So Mr. Bill Gibbons is a former prosecutor for Shelby County, Memphis area. How many people has he put in jail wrong? Because from a sociological perspective, rules, law, facts, evidence, constitution mean nothing. Throw it out the window. You can take all my law education, my legal education, worked for years to get past the bar. You can take my JD and throw it out the window. You throw it in the river. I'll throw it down here in the river. It means nothing. Don't mean anything. Like, I got this one, because let me tell you what wins the day, every time, in every courtroom in the state of Tennessee, in every federal courtroom in the state of Tennessee, under what we got now. What wins the day? Not law, not facts, not evidence, not proof, not attorney, not any of that matters. It doesn't matter a hill of beans. It's ludicrous, and that's a myth. Here's what wins the day. Mr. Bill Gibbons is a federal prosecutor. Mr. Bill Gibbons' wife is over the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. So anything he says is going to be adjudicated. That's right, even if it's a lie, So you lose every single time. You say, but, I got the proof. No, don't matter. That proof, they won't even listen to that proof. I had proof, had an expert witness. That belonged to them. That doesn't matter. It wins the day. And she don't even have to adjudicate your case. You don't have to adjudicate your case. From a sociological perspective, here's the way it is. Here's the way it works for them every time and works against you. No matter what the truth is, the truth doesn't matter. They adjudicate what the truth is. They don't adjudicate the facts and law. They adjudicate a truth that's not the truth. Because who is your daddy or who's your wife or who you're related to? That's what wins the day in the state of Tennessee. If you don't believe me, look at these people in power in Tennessee. Look at these judges and these people in high positions in the state of Tennessee, and look who they're related to. And that's who wins in court. And you'll lose every time. So, I hate to say it, it's like I open up the show. I pray real hard and get off the couch and go vote. Because her being a Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals judge, every judge in Tennessee knows Bill Goober comes into town. His wife is a Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals judge. She's a powerful judge. Rule in his favor against the citizen. Your career will go well. Don't stand up for the truth. Stand up for Bill Gibbons for their dirty lies. So that's the truth. That's just the dirty truth about it. And you won't hear other attorneys saying that because they don't want to tell you the truth. So Judge Lefever's ruling was late. He can be late. A state law violation. Board of Law Examiners put out their ruling against me on Valentine's Day, showing me they don't love me, they hate me, has nothing to do with the law. We'll show you, put it out on Valentine's Day. And it's because the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, they know, it's not an independent and biased judiciary. Not in the least. It's very biased for people in power. Because you can tell, because people in power promote their friends, relatives, and family to other positions of power to get your tax money, and they decide in their favor. So, I was in law school training to get out of THP when they did all this dirty stuff to me. I wasn't putting up with it. So the board said, they turned me down my law license, people want to know, the first time, because I didn't explain. That's how crooked they are. You can see through this a mile down the road around the corner. It's so blatantly obvious. And they don't care. They got a gun. They're just trying to explain it for the fools that'll believe it. But the people that won't believe it, they don't care if you don't believe it or not. They know it's so blatantly lie. It's such a blatant lie, so blatantly dishonest. They know they're crooked, step on the Constitution. They don't care. They explain it to fools that it's easy for any lawyer or anybody with any sound mind to figure out how dirty they are. And if you don't go along, and a lot of people don't, they say, well, we got a gun. We got a gun. You will obey us or we'll blow your brains out. We'll lock you in jail. We'll do whatever we're going to do. Because it's by brute force. So who's the most dangerous people in Tennessee? The Tennessee judiciary, the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners, Tennessee lawyers, Tennessee judges, they're the criminals. They're the criminals. Have you ever heard anybody say that? I'm saying it. I'm saying it. Who's the safest people in America? One of them is Charles Van Morgan. I believe in doing things justly and right. I believe in voting. I believe in exercising your First Amendment right. I believe in going to vote. I don't believe in chasing people down the road or going to people's houses and like the former major did to me, the major now, the Highway Patrol, and trying to insult and intimidate them. I believe in doing things right and appropriately. I believe in praying. I believe in pointing out where they're telling you lies to you. That's what I believe in. They don't believe in that. I'm telling you, the judiciary don't believe in the Constitution. They do not. Judges in Tennessee do not believe in your constitutional rights. They believe they ought to say they do. They believe they ought to put up the facade that they do. Some of them do, most of them don't. But they don't believe in the Constitution. Hell no, they don't believe in the Constitution. If they did, they wouldn't do half the things they do. They believe in making money off you and maintaining power using their position and power to uphold that crooked government. That's what they believe in, and I'm pointing it out. Are you with me? Like, share, comment. If you trust the judiciary, you're on the wrong channel. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not handing out roses. When I was a trooper, I didn't hand out roses. I handed out handcuffs for people that are dangerous to the public. They didn't like me. I don't care. It protected the public, even protected them. The judiciary would like me to hand out roses to them. It's even good for them. They even endanger themselves, dirty crooks. So we'll continue with the dialogue. We got a lot more to cover talking about the dirty judiciary in the state of Tennessee. Like, share, comment. So we got 6 likes. So give me 6-7. We can get off that number. So Harbison, a member of the Tennessee Judiciary, he said in class that will I always have to support my son. So, he is admitting that he supports his son. His son is a grown man. His son is a licensed attorney. Do you think that his son had trouble getting his law license? This is Harbison. He was a professor in contracts at Nashville School of Law. And also on the Board of Law Examiners, making more of my tax money, making more student loan money. And he supports his son, who's a lawyer. Evidently he's a lawyer that doesn't work, doesn't have to. When you got a rich dad, they get rich off the judicial system, and he decided his son was candid and honest enough to be a lawyer. His son, I picked his son up when I was a taxi, took him to a strip joint. So I paid his dad, part of the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners, a judge with the Tennessee Judiciary. I paid him to give his son money to go down to a strip joint. So that's what these people in government power do. They use your tax money. They use your tax money to take care of their family. And here's Mr. Long, that works right over here at this courthouse. He's the one that backed up his friend McMillan. So we pay them, I paid them money to get through contracts. And he was one of the worst professors there, Mr. Harbison, a horrible professor. And he supports his son, a grown man who has a law license. Of course, he got approved to get his law license because his dad's on the board that approves him. But my daddy wasn't on the board that approved me, so I can't get my law license. But his son was over here at the real fancy hotel, one of the best in Knoxville. I picked him up in my taxi. That's all I can do. They won't let me be a lawyer. Won't let me represent you all in your constitutional rights, so I'll represent you here on the street. Tell you the truth about these dirt bags. So there's no court rules under the Constitution. It's defamation, and it's not defamation if it's true. So we'll tell you a little bit about behind the scenes. So I took his son, who he's giving money to, admitted he supported him, to a strip joint. So I know there's a lot of prostitution going on down there. I'm not saying his son was involved in prostitution, but his son's using his dad's money that I paid his dad. That's useless to me. I can't practice law. His dad won't let me. To go to a strip joint. So that's what they're doing with your money. So his son is candid and capable enough to be a lawyer, and it's legal to go to strip joints, but I can't be a lawyer because his daddy won't let me be a lawyer. And his daddy supports his sons going around strip joints. That's what your tax money's paying for. Lisa Perlin said I cussed her. I didn't cuss her. That's a lie. Where's the videotape me doing it? They always come up with lies to justify their reasons. I was there. I know I didn't cuss her. Didn't say one dirty cuss word to her. She's a dirty lying fool that stands against your constitutional rights and lawyers that will protect your constitutional rights. Only lets lawyers in the door that will protect lying judges. So she's an harasser. She came up to me in a line that I'm standing in. They got A, B line, C, D, and I'm standing up in the line. I'm standing up in a line that has M on it, Morden, my last name. I can't go in another line. Can't go somewhere else. I have to, in order to get my law license, I have to stand in that line to register to take the bar exam. Now, Lisa Perlin's not taking the bar exam. She can go anywhere in that whole room. She can go in her little office. She can go talk to a THP trooper that is trying to keep me from getting my law license. What a bunch of dirty people they are. At the first test, get my law license the first time, I was taking the bar exam right down here at this building. You can see it right down here. Take them out at the convention center. It is that building right there, the convention center. So that's where I took the bar exam at. So I was down there taking the bar exam, and a trooper came up to me, because state troopers guard the bar exam, and hollered at me, and I didn't have nothing to say to him. I just walked off, and he got mad at me because I wouldn't speak to him. I don't like state troopers. Some of them. Now, some of them are good, but I don't want. Now, some of them retired I talk to that are really good people, but a lot of them work to get me fired because I have an education and because I did a better job than they do. So it's harder for THP to explain, and I'd also make complaints about their promotion process. I was leading the state in DUI arrest, and I never had a hope to get promoted. I had an education in criminology. I had emergency management. I knew how to protect the public. I was doing that better than anything. And they were putting little kids, younger people, in high positions over me. And I complained about it through their procedure. Justifiably. Don't complain about stuff, right? Yeah, I'll still complain about stuff that needs to be complained about. That'll make it a better world. So he pulls a knife out on me. And he knows he did it. I know that sounds like something that's not the truth, but it is the truth. A trooper pulled a knife out on me right down there at that building the first time I was taking the bar exam, trying to get my law license for the first time. A Tennessee state trooper pulled a knife out on me because he tried to speak to me, grabbed my shoulder, and I walked off. So he pulls a knife out on me because he's mad at me. Yes, he did do that. He did do that. That's a fact. I didn't complain about that because he didn't cut me or anything, but I mean, I thought he was freaking crazy, and some of them are pretty damn crazy. Some of them are crazy as hell. And I'm just saying, protect yourself. Don't let them take your life. Don't fight them. But I just walked off, took the bar exam. But so yeah, trooper pulled a knife on me. He knows who he is. He knows he did. Got his knife out. Yeah, dirtbag, piece of shit. And that's the truth. He did. Now, I didn't report it, make a big deal out of it. Wouldn't have done any good. I went and took the bar exam, passed it, trying to get my law license. And that was the goal. Now, he didn't run at me, but he pulled the knife out because he's mad because I wouldn't talk to him. They got to talk to them. And so this trooper, Sergeant Greenlee, he's a pervert. He was in Sevier County. And hey, Greenlee, I'm out here. Come and get me, little fella. I'm not condoning shooting him. I wouldn't shoot him. But he's a little short fella. I'm just saying, don't mess with these people that way. It's not that kind of fight. Greenlee, Howard Greenlee, THPP. So he testified against me, trying to keep me from getting my law license this time. Did you mention, Mr. Greenlee, about your credibility, about how you were in Sevier County? Look it up, it's in the papers. You're in Sevier County and you solicited sex with a 18-year-old that was trying to go up there and get licensed to get married. You had your state trooper patch on representing the state highway patrol. I represent the state highway patrol with honor and dignity, and did things right. But he was afraid I'd get promoted over him. I did a better job than ever dreamed of doing. I remember one time he told me, "Don't try to save the world." I wasn't trying to save the world. I was doing my damn job. Why don't you? I didn't pay much attention to him. You had to look down on him, not because literally these little short fellas. You got short man syndrome, I guess. But he solicited sex from somebody while he was in uniform, coming up there to get a marriage license. He asked her if she had had sex with the man she was trying to get a marriage license for, and offered to break her in a state trooper uniform, using his power and disgracing the whole. And now he's a sergeant with THP. So he's down here at the courthouse trying to get me, trying not to get me my law license. What a dirty thug he is. What a dirty thug he is, doing that crap. And another one pulled a knife out on me, so that's what they do. So at the end of their hearing this time, you can listen. You can listen to it. I already put it out. I was asked by the judge if I got due process, because I told him it was important for me to get due process of law, because I hadn't the last time. I told him that. I know that doesn't sound good to say you weren't getting due process of law in front of a same, instead of a board, not the same members. But I didn't. I sued them over that. I didn't get due process of law. But they don't care what you think, even if you got legitimate reasons. They want you to take it and comply, kiss the ring, even if it violates people's constitutional rights. I'm not going to do that. It's not going to happen. Shouldn't have to do that. That's not right. They're not that powerful. They shouldn't be. And I said that if I got my law license, because I should get my law license, because I'm honest, I've been blackballed, then I'll get, but if I don't get my law license, I've got due process of law. So, do I have my law license? No. So did they have a CA student loan money? Yes. Do they have California people loan money to her, to me, that I paid to her for her to tell her that I couldn't have my law license? So people in California ought to be mad. They're regulating the practice of law, running a criminal syndicate. So Tennessee judges, have your tax money. So Tennessee judges are dirty as hell. So let me talk about Bill Gibbons. Let me talk about Will Gibbons and what he did. And people are going to obey him because his wife has a seat of authority. It's not that the case goes before her, but it's just that she's on the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, and everybody knows that's his wife. So when he comes into court, anything he says, he's got power, not through his wife. So that's why sociologically he gets whatever he wants to get. Who in the right mind, except for somebody like me, is going to say, no, this is what the Constitution says. I know your bloodline, I know your relative, but that's not right to do it that way. We don't run this country like that. That's not fair. That's not right. That's not due process of law. Due process of law, the Fifth Amendment, which trumps judges' decisions not to honor that, and they don't in Tennessee, says that we have a right to, before the government can take our life, liberty, or property, that we have a right, they can take our life, liberty, or property, but only if they give us due process of law. Only if they give us, and due process of law is notice of a hearing that they're trying to take your property, they're trying to take your life, that they're trying to take your liberty, that you're trying to take your life, your liberty. If they are trying to take that, then they can do that if they provide us due process. Due process is the right to notice. They have to warn us ahead of time, sending us a notice. Hey, this is what we're accusing you of. You have a right to come to court this day and oppose that. That's notice. Now that's important. Notice is important. Cases have been dismissed because the government did not give people fair notice. You learn that in law school. There was a case where the government was taking somebody's house because it was abandoned. They sent them notice, but they didn't send it the right way. They sent it by mail to somebody that didn't even live at the address when they could have found out where the owner lived. So they sent them a notice to the wrong address, and they were seizing their house. So they took their house. And the court said, the federal court said that even though the house was abandoned, they didn't give them notice because they didn't actually notify them of the court proceeding, and they didn't appear, and they took their house. So the state had to give it back. So notice is important. So under our Constitution due process law, they have to give you fair notice. They can't just take your property. They have to give you notice. So, and then a fair hearing. Fair hearing. That's the Constitution. Not what a judge decides. That's what he swears to uphold. A fair hearing is before an impartial tribunal. Not one because who's your daddy or who's your mother or who you're related to. And that's what they do. They decide cases on who's who. They don't decide cases based on the Constitution, facts, and law. A fair hearing is substantive and procedural. Due process inclusive. Substantive due process and procedural due process. Substantive due process means that you have a right, that they go through the proper procedures, that they provide you notice and follow the Constitution. Procedural. Substantive due process is that it's a fair hearing, that it's not in violation because they rule because somebody's family. So here's what Mr. Gibbons did. Gibbons, deposition, page 7. Okay, Bartlett. Okay, in this case, do you have an opinion as to how Trooper Morgan's activities in this case have impacted the department's ability? Gibbons, the bottom line to your answer question is, after reviewing the situation, I felt he could no longer perform his duties. So, Mr. Gibbons said, now this is important. Mr. Gibbons said, and his wife is a federal judge. Mr. Gibbons' wife's a federal judge. So, Mr. Gibbons is using his position, his wife's position, to get any lie through a courtroom he wants to. Page 7, Bartlett. Okay, and in this is the case, do you have an opinion as to how Trooper Morgan's activities in this case have implicated the department's ability? Gibbons, the bottom line to answer your question is, after reviewing the situation, I felt that he could no longer really perform his duties. Really? That's what he testified to under oath. Now, he said that under oath. He said, and he didn't even face me. He did it by deposition earlier. He said, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. This is Gibbons, who's a former federal prosecutor, who's a former state prosecutor in Shelby County, put a lot of people in jail. Now, he testified that I couldn't really perform my duties. That's what he said. His wife was a Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. So did it matter what he said? Now let me show you. Let me show you the truth. Now he's over the Department of Safety. And he said I couldn't perform my duties. Okay. Let's see about that. Let's see about that, because he gave me a subpoena issued through Department of Safety gave me a subpoena. I'm about to show you here. Gave me a subpoena after that to appear in court, to testify in court. So how does that say I really couldn't perform my duties? So he says I can't perform my duties. Randy Nichols says I can't appear in court. And here he is, Mr. Google. Says I can't appear in court. And he's given me a subpoena to appear in court. So Mr. Gibbons would be a dirty liar. Is that not right? If what he said wasn't true, and he testified to that under oath, and then the facts show something else, then I would say that he lied under oath. Wouldn't you say that? And I would say if a judge agrees with what he says, that it wouldn't be because it's the truth, it'd be because who his wife is. It'd be because of friendships and relatives. It'd be because of stuff that violates the Constitution. It would violate due process. It's not a fair hearing when people adjudicate stuff based on who's your daddy, who's your friend, who you're married to, right? And that's the case happened here. So let's see this little subpoena where they violated my federal constitutional right because he said I couldn't perform my duties, and then he gave me a subpoena to do just that. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting how that works out? So let's see if we can find the subpoena here. And it's in here. Just give me a second. Hello, and I'll show you. He said I couldn't perform my duties, and then he gave me a subpoena to perform my duties. So which one is it, Bill Gibbons? Which one is it? I'd say that I could perform my duties. I did perform my duties. And I'd say that you lied under oath. That's what I'd say. That's what I know. And that's what I'm reporting to the public before about 1 million people. So here you go. No, this is not the subpoena. This is the judge reassigned. So let me see here. We'll find it. Okay, here we go. What do you know? I found it. So yeah. So this, you read where Mr. Bill Gibbons, whose wife's the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, said that I couldn't testify, I couldn't perform my duties. So they had to fire me because I couldn't perform my duties. That's what he testified to under oath. He swore to that. I'm talking about the judiciary being infected by lies and corruption. They don't have to do it directly. It's the symbol. Supreme Court, Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, Tennessee Federal Court. That's my wife. What I say, if I lie under oath, doesn't matter. What I say goes. You adjudicate it, fine. He adjudicated that I couldn't perform my duties and fired me, took my job away. Because what he said, I couldn't perform my duties. But he lied. He's a liar. Bill Gibbons, you're a liar. You're a dirty liar, a tax thieving man that ought to go to jail for your crimes against humanity, rates of fatality rate. He said, simply, he can't perform his duties. They fired me. Look it up. That guy on the go says they fired me January the 31st, 2012. Took my job because Bill Gibbons said he can't do his job. So we don't have to pay him anymore. He can't do his job anymore. That's what he said. Okay, you look at this. Then, if I got a subpoena from them to testify in court and met with a district attorney, from him, after he said I couldn't do my job, if he subpoenas me to ask me to do my job, albeit not being paid, then that would make Bill Gibbons a liar under oath. I mean, commit perjury, wouldn't it? I mean, that's simple. This is the facts. I'm not telling you what they say they said happened. I'm telling you what happened, and I'm showing you evidence that Mr. Gibbons is a perjurer. He's a criminal. Mr. Bill Gibbons, you're a perjurer criminal. His wife, by effect, from a sociological point of view, created that to happen. She should have told him, don't use me to get cases through a courtroom. But she didn't have to tell people to rule in his favor. It was by effect, behind the doors. So if I got a subpoena that after that he said that, then he's saying by subpoenaing me that I can do my job. Let's look and see if he gave me a subpoena. So let's look and see here. State of Tennessee, Claiborne County, subpoena to testify, criminal court, Claiborne County. Issued to Charles Van Morgan. Wow. Charles Van Morgan, THP, 71 Kingston Pike. So, to appear 19th day of June 2013 at 8:30 a.m. before Judge Criminal Court. Signed by Billy, THP, signed by the clerk, signed by Sergeant Robert Smith, and he's THP. He's a THP officer. Our THP State of Tennessee government official Goober testified under oath I could not testify in court, and then issued me a subpoena to testify in court. Isn't that amazing? Come to this 10th day of June 2013. So they fired me. They fired me in 2012. They fired me in 2012. January of 2012. Based on Bill Goober's testimony, his wife's a federal court judge, 6th Circuit Court of Appeals. So his rulings go, what he says goes, and so they took my job from me based on what he said. Can't do my job. And then, well, I'm not getting paid. I even went to meet with Mr. Jared Effler. He called me on the phone. I'll let you hear his phone calls where he calls me on the phone. And wants me to testify in Claiborne County. He said when I don't have a job, don't have hardly money to eat, trying to get through law school. This is what they did to the leading DUI enforcer in the state. Hey, Mr. Southern Drawers Law, I led the state in drunk driving arrests. I made it safer for you. You think it's... I didn't lose my job because I did anything wrong. I lost my job because of the crooked judicial system in the state of Tennessee. You won't say that, I will. And if you say anything about me, I'll talk a little bit more about you, a little bit more truth. You're bound by the crooked judicial system. I'm not. Now, they said I couldn't appear in court and fired me. I don't have a job, don't have a paycheck. Shouldn't have to do my job. And I'm trying to get through law school. I was in law school when they fired me, trying to get out of THP because they didn't do things right. And I'd made a complaint against them for some of the wrong things they did that they should have corrected it, but they'd rather get rid of you than correct their wrong. They're a rogue agency, dangerous to people's safety, health protection, and well-being. So I got called by Jared Effler. He called me, wanted me to come testify. I said, okay, I will, but THP fired me. I don't have a job now. And I'm appealing it because I didn't do anything wrong. And so, he knew that. He said, that's okay. I need your testimony. Because I took blood to the lab from a trooper that worked in Claiborne County. And I took it to the lab. And I Say it's on my phone. And I had to testify chain of custody about the blood test because I went to somebody, they flew down here that killed 2 people in a wreck and had them draw his blood. And then I took it, I had to watch it, and I took it to the drop box at THV Post. And I had to testify chain of evidence because they couldn't get the blood evidence in court if they didn't have somebody to testify. So they were saying that I was honest. And Mr. Gibbons said I couldn't do my job, but after I was fired, wasn't even getting paid. See, they even use people for free. They think they're, I never agreed to work for THV for free. I never agreed to that. But I was going to testify because I didn't want to let somebody get by with a double homicide, kill 2 people. So I was met with the district attorney, and I told him I've been fired by the Highway Patrol wrongly. They shouldn't have fired me. They were wrong. They're lying about stuff. And he said that's okay. He said just go and tell them the truth about that. So I agreed to. I met with him at the Cracker Barrel over off I-40 at the right across from near Has-Been's Rip-Off store, where 3 people were murdered by his where he gets a lot of money to act like he gives a lot of money to the poor, where he gets it over stepping over bodies. But I went and met with Jared after. I couldn't even buy anything to drink or eat because I didn't have no money because they fired me. I was broke. I mean, reality. And they said I wasn't. They said I wasn't credible to testify. I couldn't do my job, and they're asking me to do my job, but they're just not paying me. Isn't that amazing how that works out? Yeah, defame you, and then I mean, here's a subpoena right here. So I couldn't testify. So Bill Goobers lied under oath. He's over the department, still over the department. He knows they lied, still sent me a subpoena because it's politically correct. It's politically incorrect for them to allow a double homicide suspect to get off because they wrongfully fired a troop. So I didn't even have money, and Mr. Jared Efforts sure didn't buy me anything to drink or anything, would it? So yeah. So Mr. Bill Gibbons lied under oath and then sent me a subpoena later. They handpicked a judge to get a lie through a courtroom that knew who Bill Gibbons' wife was, and the administrative law judge who ruled against me. The administrative law judge who ruled against me was not even a regular assigned judge. He was reassigned. They handpicked a judge that they knew they had bought and paid for to rule the truth to lies. They ruled lies. And then they asked me to testify in the court while I wasn't getting paid after they took my medical insurance away from me and from my children. What a cruel department. While Larry Russell's out on the interstate getting himself hurt. And then when I tried to run for public office, to stand up against these people, to put the message out to people to protect you, these judges here say I don't have a constitutional right to First Amendment. I don't have a First Amendment right to criticize them. I bet I do. You didn't give me that right. You didn't give me that right, dirty judges. Judge McBride, Judge Davis, Judge Ferguson, Judge McBride. You didn't give me the right for First Amendment. You didn't give me that right. You can't take it away from me. I won't give it to you. Now I can give it to them. You can give them your First Amendment right. But I don't give it to them. I don't give it to them. Tennessee Judge Davis, Ferguson, and McBride cover up courtroom criminal acts by their buddy, Judge McMillan, violating the Constitution, interfering with the people's campaign for governor. They did. Rule for sitting governor for money and power, $6 tax on civil and criminal cases, marked for General Sessions Court judges, TACIR. That's true. Christy Davis said I didn't have a First Amendment right. I bet I do. You can't take that away from me, Christy Davis. You can't take that away from me, Christy Davis. You can't take my First Amendment right. You don't have a right to tell me not to speak. You can't adjudicate that justifiably. That's a rogue court ruling. It's a dirty lie. You're a dirty judge. And the reason they ruled that is because I was running against the governor, and the governor promotes them. So here's a flyer I passed out all over the state of Tennessee. So you can see this flyer, screenshot that. And that's the damn truth of the matter. So like, share, comment, so Somebody's giving me $2. I appreciate that. Thank y'all so very much for the contributions. So we got about 1 minute, and we've been on here for 3 hours. We had a 3-hour tour today. So thank you all so very much. So we're talking about the Tennessee judiciary and how crooked they are. This is where they put this out on Valentine's Day. They put out a ruling on Valentine's Day against me, deny me my law license. So it's a facade to think that you can go in a Tennessee courtroom and get the truth. You won't get the truth. You'll get a dirty bunch of lies. You'll get court rulings against you that are full of lies and full of perjury and full of public corruption. So I'm going to mention a few things here that are very important to me. I appreciate the contribution. See if we can get this in our back pocket where I can head to the house. So if you want to advertise, if you want me to advertise for your business, if you don't want to put up with government corruption, if you're tired of it, then advertise with me. Show your support. And even if you don't mind government corruption, but you want your name out to over 1.1 million people, you want me to advertise for your business, then let me know, and we will advertise, and we'll see how well I do for you. So I'll advertise for you if you want me to do that. And also, so we got another lot. Also, if you want me to speak at your venue, your club or bar or church, then I'll be glad to do that. Just let me know, and we'll speak, and I'll advertise for a small fee. I'll advertise for your bar or club and try to get you a lot of customers. So and I can be pretty entertaining, and I think other people have told me that I'm a pretty entertaining, talented speaker. So let me know. Send a message to charlesvanmorgan@gmail.com, and we'll be glad to speak at your business or your church. I'm glad to give my Christian testimony at your church. If you want me to speak at your church, send me an email, and I won't charge you for that. And I'll be glad to speak at your church, and I'll mention that I'm going to speak at your church. So maybe we can get a lot of people in there and get them saved. If you want me to do that, I'll be glad to do that. So look at the beautiful view here in the city of Knoxville. And so you want somebody that is looked up because you can't handle you consequences for your words and your actions because of what you said. Okay, I don't understand any of that. So, bro just whines and whines. I'm not whining, I'm doing something about stuff. So, if you want me to speak, let me know. I'll try to get you some advertising, and we'll speak at your bar or at your church. I'll do it at your church for free. I'll advertise where I'm going to speak at, and maybe we can get some people saved. Give my testimony. If you want me to speak at your bar, I don't drink, but I'll advertise on here where it is, and maybe get you some customers in there. I've reached 1.1 million people over that in the past month, so I'm talking to quite a few people. So look at the traffic here, it's all backed up. So thank y'all for watching. And the other thing is, if you, so yeah, thanks to our city government, I got a lot of people that come across this bridge that I'll hold a sign out for you, advertising your business on this bridge while I'm broadcasting live. It's one of the only 3 bridges in Knoxville and has a lot of traffic to it. So if you want me to advertise your business, then I'll be glad to do that with a sign up too for a small fee, and also advertise it on here and with a sign going across one of the only 3 bridges where people are funneled across here. So you'll get a lot of advertising. You'll get a lot of advertising. So charlesvanmorgan@gmail.com, and ask me about advertising for you, and I'll do that. I'm in one of the locations where cars are funneled across the city of Knoxville. There's one of 3 bridges. One's way out on the interstate. The other one is the South Knoxville Bridge, and the Gay Street Bridge is closed, so everybody has to funnel across this bridge. And I will hold a sign out for you advertising your business, and also it says I'm live on YouTube, and I'll advertise that I'm live on YouTube and advertise your business with the sign and with the YouTube that I've had 1.1 million people. And you don't have to say that you're associated with my anti-government corruption. I'm just telling you I can get the word out, and we can make some money to fund the movement. So somebody's already contributed some money. So if you can contribute, hit the square icon, hit the like icon. And also, if you have any information about people in government power, then what you need to do, what you can do is go to my YouTube page, you're on it, and go down and find the survey, and then click on the survey and let me know any information you have behind the scenes. I have people give me information a lot, and thank you so very much for the information that you give me. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. I use it. So you're very beneficial. If you can contribute, do that. I appreciate it. The Square app, send a super chat on here, and if you can't do any of that, then hit subscribe and like. That helps out. Comments help, and if you want me to advertise, I'll be glad to do that. charlesvanmorgan@gmail.com. We can get the message out about your business, and love to speak at your location. And let me mention the bed store here on Chapman Highway at Moody. He let me put my sign out when I was running for city council, and also the corner market in the UT area. Guy let me put a sign out at his business. Very nice man. So I'd ask you to patronize those businesses. Very good people. And also a lady sells t-shirts. I think her name is Renee. Sells t-shirts at the Old Cas Walker location here on Chapman Highway across from Shoney's. She sells UT football jerseys. I've got one beautiful shirt, so go buy one from her. She let me have her sign when I was So thank y'all for coming. God loves you, and I do too.